It's to be.
Welcome into Gwynn and Chris,
welcome
everybody.
into Gwynn and Chris, everybody. Chris Sennell, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby together.
Kicking off
the Great Sports Weekend, our Friday program. We'll be here from now until 6 o'clock. You can enjoy the program
right here on
97.3 The Fan,
or you can tune into YouTube
and watch us work. Just search 97.3 The Fan, and you can watch the proceedings as they unfold. Tony Gwynn Jr., Xander Bogaerts making big news today. Whether he wanted to or not, he made big news today. Mike Schultz announcing that Ha-Seong Kim has won the shortstop job. And I don't really know that there was a competition. I mean, they just went ahead and have announced that Ha-Seong Kim will be the shortstop and Xander Bogaerts will be moving over to second base. And that has created a bit of a stir at Padre camp. What say you about this news?
I'd say that I'm surprised that it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
But in the same token, I think you could see that this was going to eventually happen. And
so why wait?
Ha-Seong Kim is clearly the best defender when Manny Machado's not on the field. I don't think he's a Gold Glove winner, utility spot. You could have argued that could have been at second base. They gave it to him in a utility spot. And I just think it seemed like it was going to come at some point. And you, at least listening to Schultz, they had the conversation, and it was his by default. Schultz said he went, okay. So I think it's all at this point, however they got to that spot of we're going to move Xander to second. We're going to move Kim to short. It seems like it's done. He did leave a little bit of an opening to kind of flip-flop him.
Little wiggle room.
But outside of that, Skraby, do we have Xander or
we have
Schultz?
Xander Bogaerts on his feelings about moving to second base.
Let's hear it from Xander.
Switch. I mean, I signed here as a shortstop, but to me, I just live and die baseball, and I felt like we had this conversation early in the morning, and I was like, listen, man, if this is the way that you guys feel the team is better, I respect him, especially defensively. I actually admire him a lot. So maybe it can hurt, but I mean, I'm just doing it in the best interest of the team. And in the end, I feel like I'm at peace with moving off, because I felt like if I literally didn't really want to, I would have just let them know. And that would have been I wouldn't say a problem, but it might have been a tough situation. But I think I'm really at peace of gonna have to move off, So I think that deep down in my heart, like I was actually cool with it. I didn't expect maybe to be cool with it, but what more can I accomplish in this game? I came here. The only reason I came here was to win a World Series. So if this is the way that we're gonna get one, so be it. I want a World. I was just thinking, I want one at third base. I want one at shortstop, and it would be very nice to win one at second base. So I'm looking at the positive, and actually, if we're gonna have this conversation in like 2 years, hey, let's move you from the position again, or whatnot. Like, let's just get out of the way now. If this is a really good time for that our team is going to be much better this way, let's just do it.
Xander Bogaerts, 9 years starting shortstop in Major League Baseball. He seemed a little bit. He chose his words carefully. Let's be honest about that. I don't think he's 1,000% happy with this move. But you know what, Tony? If you're a competitor in any way, shape, or form, I don't think you're ever happy, with a move like this. But you're going to accept it. You're going to do the best you can. Go on over to second base and try to be the best second baseman you can be. And I don't think we have to start a controversy on this because I don't think there's really one to be had.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you get when you have a pro at the helm here. It's clear he's not like gung-ho about it.
No.
Nor should he be. I mean, he's played shortstop. He's earned the right to be a shortstop. But again, he kept going back to it. At the end of the day, in the bottom of his heart, he felt like if I'm going to be moved off anyway, maybe now is the time to do it. As much as he may not want to, at this point. He does seem like, just listening to him, he's at peace with it, even if he doesn't necessarily want to be there now. And I think that's what a professional does. Mike Schilt had the conversation with him in Aruba. They had the conversation again this morning, it sounded like. And I think, what do we got going? Are you here to win gusting?
Is
through?
our studio ghost back?
He must be.
Or is it Chris's breathing?
It's not me.
It's
I'm
not
not
you.
even breathing. I'm turning blue.
It's not.
I'm turning
Chris, it's-
blue. Okay, never mind.
Sounds like we're out on the fairway having this discussion right now.
I appreciate the fact that clearly wasn't easy for him, but he took the road of being a pro there.
Yeah, he only committed 8 errors last year. I mean, let's be honest about this. This guy was not a bad shortstop. The Padres feel that Ha-Seong Kim is going to get to more balls and save more runs and create more outs at the shortstop position. I mean, this is what analytics does for you. I mean, if you just looked at Xander Bogaerts and said, well, the guy made 8 errors last year. He's part of 64 double plays, played a clean shortstop 99% of the time, you probably never know that Ha-Seong Kim might have saved a few more runs had he been at shortstop last year. But, they look at the analytics. It's pretty hard to argue with.
It is.
And Ha-Seong Kim stands out in that category.
This is the analytics that is really hard to argue with.
Right.
Defense is almost impossible to argue with because it can show you things as Xander maybe, or as Ha-Seong maybe getting to more balls and turning those into outs versus hits that adds up over the course of a season. And I think most people around baseball would say Ha-Seong Kim right now is the better idea at shortstop, but it didn't make it easy. But he could, as Xander, I thought, perfectly pointed out, he could have said no, and it would have, even if everybody moves on, there's this kind of thing hanging over the ball club. And I think that's what leadership is in some ways, right? He recognized he could have taken that one way. He didn't. He's gonna do his best for the team in this case. And that pours cold water on any controversy that could have been had he said, no, I'm not ready to do this.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and boil some water and make a little controversy just for fun, Tony, because I remember one thing that Xander Bogaerts said when he was first approached about this, whether it was the end of last season or sometime this offseason, when it first became known that the Padres might be shifting him off shortstop. And what was presented at the time, not necessarily to him, but to all of us, was that Xander Bogaerts might eventually be heading over to first base. And I remember what Xander Bogaerts said. He said, I want to stay in the middle infield. I either want to stay at catcher, second base, shortstop, or center field. Because once you go to the corner spots, the next spot is the bench. And I remember him saying that, and I thought of that today because, you still have Jake Cronenworth on his ball club, and I don't know what the analytics say about Jake at second base as opposed to Xander Bogaerts, because Xander Bogaerts hasn't played second base yet. But I know that Jake Cronenworth's a great second baseman, and a lot of people feel like his talents are being wasted a little at first base. So my controversial thought is, and I bet you Skraby will back me up because he's into these conspiracies, I wonder if the Padres even at all broached the idea of him going to first base only to be turned down and then settled on an agreement with second base.
That we don't know.
We don't.
Well, we do know.
Oh, here we go.
During Mike Schilt
I knew that I would have support.
It's like throwing chum out there.
I
just
know.
to kind of get
comes.
the fish biting
Here
a
he
little bit.
comes.
So we have, I think, a little bit of misinformation spreading in our YouTube chat. Join us. You can just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube. But there's some discussion going on that the Padres told him today. But that is not what we're hearing, because Mike Schilt actually said they had a discussion in Aruba. So this clip is 2 minutes long, but it has a lot of information in it. It talks about Mike Schilt was asked when he approached Xander Bogaerts about playing second, what he expects from Bogaerts, and if there was any thought of moving Jake Cronenworth to second base and Bogaerts to first base.
Well, I had a starting point of the conversation with him to take his temperature in Aruba. Pretty good place, by the way, to have a conversation of any kind. And so we started the process there. And then, AJ, clearly you can ask him as well. But, it was an ongoing conversation, and, we finalized it recently.
You know what you're going to get from Kim at shortstop because he's played there before. But what are your expectations given Xander's skill set for what he can do at second base?
Well, the good news is you want as many shortstops as you can have on a baseball field in as many positions as you can have. So, to the examples I mentioned earlier, we got Toddy, the shortstop that goes to right, great. Kimmy, the shortstop, goes to second, fantastic. Crony has played shortstop and goes to second and first, and it's been really good. So, if you can have as many shortstops, and the experience of that is from I understand how to play the middle to go to second is really important. So, I expect it to be some transition, some learning curve. Clearly, I think we'd all be naive to think that won't be the case. But also, with Bogey, that we'll make sure of, and he'll do in anyways. He's still a captain of our infield. He's still a guy that's going to run point guard, from the second base position about how we're operating, how we're competing, how we're aware of game situations on the field.
Mike, was there any thought moving Jake to second and Bogey to first? What was part of the calculus there?
I mean, listen, again, we've got a different ways, Palms, to look at this, but Bogey came in here to be a shortstop. He's a valuable guy in the middle of the field. Crony's already demonstrated he's really good at first base. So I don't think we want to let's keep Bogey up the middle where he's clearly done very well. And as I alluded to with talking to AJ in his question, it's a guy that we want to continue to have in the middle for his baseball IQ and his leadership.
So there you go, Mr. Conspiracy Theory, Chris. So he says
what did you get from that?
What did I get from that? What his answer about Cronenworth, or just the entire? What I got from his answer on the Cronenworth thing is that, it's something they thought about, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really directly say, no, we didn't consider it. We're keeping Jake at first. What I got from that is that there might have been a little thought about it, but, this is they got to try to keep Xander somewhat happy. And I think if they had said, we want you to go to first base, that would have triggered a problem. In my estimation,
that is, I think, one of the things that my antennas went up when he reiterated, Xander signed here to be a shortstop.
Right.
Okay. Well, first base is nowhere near that.
That's far away.
Second base is a little bit closer. You know what I'm saying? And it keeps you one spot away from, as you said, the bench. So, listen, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they entertained it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a discussion about it. But they have settled on Xander at second, Kim at short, and that only leads us to believe Cronenworth at first. And so, and I think that's fine. I do. Jake is a fantastic second baseman. He's also a really good first baseman. He's not far off from probably starting to be in a Gold Glove conversation. That being said, it's going to be really for Jake, it's about his offense. His offense picks back up. You don't really care where you have him, especially at that point, especially if you're getting the production from Xander and Kim and Manny when he's back healthy. The interesting part is Manny, I guess if it almost feels like Manny's going to be back by opening day.
They're making it sound that way because
they're having the conversation
about having to put somebody at third.
Right, having the conversation about Kim playing short. If Manny's not available, you would assume Kim is sliding to third,
and
which
that
means
puts Xander
back
at
at short, right? So, that might be a quiet positive in all this, that we're not even talking about the third base position.
I just said we may have some misinformation in the chat, but Xander Bogaerts, I've been listening to more of these clips, and I think I have one after the break that may put a little bit of a question on our mind whether or not he's cool with this.
Well,
I don't think it really matters.
We already have a little question in our mind whether or not he's cool with it, but it'll be interesting to see what he says. I don't think we need to make a major controversy out of this. As I said, he's a competitor at heart. If you are a starting shortstop for 9 years in Major League Baseball and you win World Series, you're going to feel some type of way if they want you to move off a shortstop. So I'm not surprised that he's not 100% with it, but it sounded like he's going to accept it and go over to second base and do the best he can. And I don't expect there to be much of an issue beyond that.
Yeah. He's like I said, he's a pro, and whether he was ready today or not, he certainly said he's at peace with it deep down. So
Yes.
you
He
move
did
on.
a very good job of choosing his words carefully
He
in the
did.
first clip we heard. Well, here's some more clips from Xander Bogaerts. You guys keep chatting away in the chat room, and we'll figure it all out from here. There are some other things going on in sports today, including a huge matchup for the Aztecs tonight. Dylan the Villain, a.k.a. Jalen House is his name. He plays for New Mexico, but he is the Mountain West Conference's top villain. Mark Ziegler, banner headline story in the Union Tribune, welcoming House to San Diego tonight. The fans will be in wait as the Aztecs take on the Lobos in a key college basketball game. And there is news from the Genesis Invitational.
I saw this.
Tiger Woods will not be winning in his return to the golf tour. We'll explain why when we come back. We are underway for a Friday. Glad you're with us. We got our countdown among a whole bunch of other stuff between now and 6 o'clock. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
You can listen
I have this strange feeling that there's going to be some a verbal warfare today at some point. Skraby's on one today.
You think maybe we just might do the head-to-head tackle off? In the
Today
studio
would, be
this afternoon?
today would be a perfect day for that. I got some pent up aggression.
Yeah, man. 2:23 on the clock. Before we get into some more Padre talk, Chris talked about some news coming out of the Genesis, and that news is that Tiger Woods had to pull out of the tournament, had to be carted off after or on 7.
Yeah.
And therefore had to pull out of the tournament from there with some type of illness.
Well, he had the back spasms yesterday and the illness on top of that. So, yeah, when you say carted off, it makes me feel like he was lying down in the back of a car
That's what
with
it
his
said.
thumbs up in the air. You know, like
I can tell you he was
like a
riding in the
football
front
guy.
seat.
Yeah, but they did take him back to the clubhouse. Tiger did not finish the second round. So I did want to thank him on his way out of the tournament for that shot he hit yesterday on 18, because I'm sure you saw a highlight of it, but
The one that went into the tree?
the one that went directly into
Went
the
this
tree,
way.
like
Yeah.
went like a right turn. It's the only shot Tiger Woods has ever hit from a fairway that I recognize as something I can do myself.
We were talking about this a little bit yesterday or off the air, though. And I think the one shot you and I both described that we'd like to see pros hit more often is, the rare time you've hit one in the fairway and it's, you hit a nice little drive and you get up for shot number 2.
And you dribble it ahead about 10 yards. Yes, that would be cool to see once.
That's the one I want to see from the pros.
Skraby, why aren't they capable of doing that just like one time out of all of the millions of
Like
pros?
the shake isn't impressive to me. The 10-yard dribbler.
The dribbler.
That's the one I
mean,
wanna
there
see.
isn't one golfer I've ever seen take their eye off the ball to the extent where they just dribble the ball.
I remember one in the Open Championship maybe like 3 years ago from Eduardo Molinari.
Really?
He
Did
hit
he
it
hit
like,
one of those?
I'm going to go look for it because I thought that he topped one. But
I'd
that
love
was
to
See, I
see
feel
it.
like I think I've seen somebody top one and it bad boy just roll all the way.
Still got
where it
150
needed-
yards out of it. Yeah,
Where
I mean,
it needed to
because
go.
the rest of us weekend warriors, we're capable of that. For
I would
sure.
also-
I'm
would also
pretty
think
consistent at it.
a pro golfer's center of balance is much lower. So that for them to top something means they are doing something that they haven't done in a long time, like standing up on it or something.
That
Well,
makes-
I
that
know
makes
it
me
would be
feel
it
great.
would be something it would be awful, but it just seems like it should be a possibility.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No possibility.
It's not.
Scraby had some more sound from Xander Bogaerts. It sounds like he was asked, when did he find out?
When did they what was the process of discussing you moving to second base? And here's what he said.
Yeah, we got to today fast. I'll tell you that. Yeah, they just approached about it, and it's not like I was like, hey, take ground balls at second, be prepared for any of that. That's probably the only part that maybe could have been a little different. But I mean, I don't know how much interest they really had on like moving me off or whatnot. But once they came with that option today, it's like, as I said, man, I could have really be like, you know what, I don't want to move off yet, but deep down, I really feel like, you know what, it might be time, and especially the respect I have for Kimmy defensively as a player. So it makes us better. I mean,
Early work out there today.
that was just a little show and go. This is just a little bouncing around. Double play feeds is going to be a little tough, and as I said, I think most of the tough plays will be around the double plays, and the feeding and the receiving of the ball with me not being able to see the guy. Those might be the tough.
Okay, what's clear to me is regardless of when they had a discussion about it, he wasn't necessarily expecting it to happen right now.
No, he wasn't. But I also don't think he was 100% blindsided.
I don't think he was too.
I
don't think he was either.
definitely. I mean, Schilt, I think he told the truth. They've already talked about this during the offseason. I think the surprise to Xander, to everybody, is that it happened today,
Right now.
before they really get into spring training. But something I wanted to say, and Xander alluded to it. If you're going to do this, now is the
The
better
time,
time.
right,
Why
right.
wait 3 weeks into spring training and say,
And he just
we kind of feel like you should go over to second base. Let's do it right now.
and he just highlighted why too, right? Because he's
You
got to
got a
get
lot
used
of
to
work.
the
So
footwork
turning
changes,
the double play
plays.
is incredibly difficult for a second baseman, as opposed, shortstop's not easy either, but you're coming across the bag, you touch the bag, kick the bag, and throw to first. It's right in front of you. Second base, a lot of times you're taking that throw blind to the runner, and you got to, it's a different deal.
He
It's a whole
also
different deal.
it also helps that Kim is the shortstop that he is relinquishing the spot to, because it would be a much different story if you had to convince him for somebody he didn't actually believe was as good or better.
Right. If they would have signed a free agent and brought him in to play shortstop, that might have been tougher.
It would have been a little bit tougher. But I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't even make a big stink about this, because he's made the decision to move over. As he said, if he really wanted to, he could have pressed and said, no, I'm not ready to do that. He did not do that this time around. And so I think we should move forward and start to talk about this team with Ha-Sung Kim at shortstop until we hear otherwise, until we know that Manny won't play opening day. Although, as I said last segment, it does certainly feel like they're not talking about that position at all.
Sounds like they're moving forward, planning on Manny being ready.
That he's going to be ready.
I mean, is he going to be ready for Korea? I mean, those 2 games are, 3 weeks before the start of the season.
I said it at the beginning of the week. The fact that he was throwing the ball across the diamond means he's already gone through the idea of stretching himself out in order to get the type of length. He wouldn't be fielding ground balls and making throws across the diamond unless he had done all those things already. So,
well, Manny
I think
Machado,
he's further along than many of us, I think, expected.
I can't wait to watch Manny Machado warm up when he takes ground balls behind the third base coaching box and throws to first from there. It's something to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you don't normally pay attention to infield practice between innings, but Manny makes it kind of exciting. His arm is so amazing. One thing for Mike Schilt, too, a little more ammunition the next time he's asked about this, is he talked about having Kim at shortstop, and then Bogarts, who's your shortstop at second base, and Cronenworth, who's your shortstop at first base, and Tatis, who's your shortstop in right field. He forgot to mention that he's got Machado, who's a shortstop at third base.
Yeah.
So he has 5 shortstops out there playing defense, and that ought to help get the job done.
I was asked in my DMs yesterday about Fernando's comment about right field being the most important position at Petco Park. Somebody asked me how I felt about that, and I think there's some elements that's very true, and I think it especially holds true in 2024. Right, you no longer have a 2-time Gold Glover patrolling center field to help you with that distance that you got to cover in right center. Right, we don't at this point. It's Jose Azocar, who I think is more than a capable center fielder, but you are losing a Gold Glover. So yeah, I think his comments, especially in 2024, are true. I don't know that it's the same way every single year, but obviously Petco Park and the way it's built, right center is probably the distance you have to cover most.
Is that why you say right field? Why is right field harder than left field at Petco Park? For those who don't really have enough understanding of all of that.
More ground.
Like me.
Yeah, more ground to cover in right field.
Just more room.
More
left
room.
field, smaller,
shorter. So in left field, you got your shorter track that kind of just goes straight across. I think in right field, you got in the corner, you got the really short porch, and then it kind of kicks out. And that wall is really just stays that way all the way out to center field.
Okay.
And so it's more room to cover for.
You also got the little Petco porch thing
at the
there
very beginning.
down the right field line.
That part, I don't know, is the bigger issue. It's the gap side.
Getting to right center field.
Yeah.
Running it down in front of the sand out there.
Covering that area
The
that
beach.
leads into that beach area.
Yeah.
Is a.
I'm pretty sure Fernando can get there.
Oh yeah,
because
we saw him get there.
There was a lot of times that Grisham got there and made the catch, but Fernando was standing right there.
They're both there.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. This year, if we didn't have a Grisham in pass, Fernando would have been extremely important to get to those balls. But
Right.
I think now with no Grish there, it becomes even more vital. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, the Aztec baseball team gets started today against the Portland Pilots down at Tony Gwynn Stadium. We'll have head coach Sean Cole on to talk a little bit about this ball club and where it's headed when we return. We're Gwynn and Chris.
good drum solo there. Very nice.
Thank you. I did it myself.
2:39 is the time, Chrisello, Tony Gwynn Jr.,
I did, by the
Mr. Skraby, Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. All right, we're going to get to our visit with Sean Cole shortly. College baseball season starting today.
Yeah.
Not only are the Aztecs, they're home. USD's playing on the road.
They gotta go to Texas.
They're at Texas.
Ooh.
That's a tough start. But, yeah, the history of the Aztec baseball program, and Sean Cole's done a really good job of incorporating a lot of that. He'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Also on campus tonight, of course, you've got the Aztecs in New
Blackout.
Mexico. Everybody's supposed to wear black.
All black.
All black. I don't know. Does that mean the Aztecs are going to wear black?
I think they will wear their black
Because New
tonight.
Mexico wears red, so they could probably get away with doing that. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a crazy environment. Here, this is from Mark Ziegler's article today in the San Diego Union Tribune, Tony. I told you that it was a headline story in the paper. It says, if you want to encapsulate the essence of New Mexico's Jalen House, rewind the tape of the Aztecs' first game at the Pit last month. House scored 11 consecutive points on his own to cut a 12-point Aztec lead to 1 in the first half. So he's pointing out right there just how good this guy is, all right? He's good. After he scored the final basket, House pranced and waved his arms and high-stepped his way across the entire court to within inches of the Aztec bench and nearly bumped into Coach Brian Dutcher. He was not penalized for this act of craziness. Last week at Nevada, House waved his arms wildly after New Mexico beat the Wolfpack, and there was all kinds of hate directed at him from the Nevada fans as he went off the court. Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal tweeted out earlier this week, Jalen House is the most hated player of 10 fan bases and gets the most hate during games of any player I have ever seen. He eggs it on, of course, but it's still 100% true. I've never heard the hate of a player like Jalen gets. And he absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
So bring it on, Aztec fans, tonight. He's ready for it. I'll tell you one thing. He was really the difference when they beat the Aztecs the first time around. The Aztecs need to return the favor tonight. It's going to be fun.
Not everybody is good at being a villain.
No, he is.
You have to in order to be a villain, you have to like really not care about what anybody else has to say.
And I do.
Most people do.
Most
if we're
people
being
do,
honest,
yeah, right?
Until you either have built up a tough skin over time, or you're just not cut out for it. It's clear that Jalen is certainly cut out for it. At least right now he is.
He is going to be public enemy number 1 tonight when the Aztecs take on New Mexico. All right, one more quick thing on Xander Bogaerts that Adam Klug wanted us to touch on, apparently.
Well, I did ask Tony this question basically as soon as he walked in, but with Xander moving to second and them moving Hassan Kim to shortstop, to me, that tells me that they're not trading Hassan Kim. They're not going to shake it up like this if they're shopping him to other teams or expecting him to be off the team at some point.
Yeah.
So that's what it tells me, and I don't care about what you say.
Okay, fine.
I'm just kidding. What do you think?
Do you think Hassan Kim has more value at shortstop or second base?
Second base.
No, you don't. You're just answering that to try to cut down his argument.
That's exactly what he's
So the fact that he's a shortstop now means the Padres might be able to get more in
Second
return.
base.
Just stop.
No, Tony immediately said this to me as when I asked it earlier. He said,
Doesn't mean
or
they will.
maybe they might be showcasing
I mean,
his talents.
He would certainly have more value at the shortstop position than he does at second. Just saying.
I agree.
I don't think they're going to move him.
I think you have a very good point, Tony, but I'm going to say I agree with Skraby. I don't think that I know this is crazy.
You're not agreeing with Skraby, you're agreeing with both of them. I don't think they're going to move him either.
Okay.
I'm just saying that
The reason I say that is because why would they even put Xander Bogaerts through this if they still planned on trading Hassan Kim? They would have just let it slide.
they want him. I mean, if we go back to the reports last year, they want to move him regardless of whether they had Kim going there or not. They wanted to move him there last year.
That is true. There were reports.
That's I think, as he said, that was something that was going to be inevitable. But I agree. I don't think they're moving Ha-Seong Kim either.
If Xander Bogaerts calls him Kimmy, those guys are too close for them to trade Kim.
Stop it, Skraby.
That second base double
All right, let me
play
get you
turn-
out of this before you say
Stop.
something
Yeah,
really
go ahead.
silly.
Get us to Sean, please.
Sean Cole, head baseball coach at San Diego State. The Aztecs' great tradition. He's trying to bring it back in his first year on the Mesa. Let's find out what he had to say. And indeed, very happy to have joining us right now the new baseball coach at San Diego State University. And where would this show be without baseball at San Diego State University, Tony?
Tell me about it.
I mean, both you and I cut our teeth here in this program, and now Sean Cole gets set to take it over and started tonight against the Portland Pilots. Sean, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, and it's always good to be in company of two former Aztecs.
Yeah, we love this. We love this program, and we love Aztec baseball, obviously. And I was there before Tony was there, so yeah. I mean that's where you're talking.
A little bit before.
Yeah, I played with Tony's dad. Oh my God. Let's start with that, because you walk out on that field, and it's Tony Gwynn Stadium, and you got Steven Strasburg up there, and Tony and Travis Lee and Coach Dietz. And I mean, this program has a great tradition, and I imagine this is something you're excited about trying to continue and improve upon.
Absolutely. I actually was just on the field earlier, and they repainted all the TG logos out there, and it looks great. Every day I go into Tony Gwynn Stadium, I feel fortunate to have this job and be a part of this program because of the rich history and tradition. I'm getting text messages all day. Buddy Black just hit me up recently, and Strasburg this morning. It's a rich history, and it's something we've explained to the team, and it's definitely something we got to carry forward.
Sean, in the short stint of time you've been the head coach here at San Diego State, in my opinion, you've done a tremendous job of kind of re-engaging with some of the alum of the past and trying to connect that tissue to this new generation of Aztec. Just talk about your kind of idea behind that, and how has the progress gone?
Well, I'll piggyback off the first question you asked me, or that you presented, with the rich history. That was something I recognized when I first got here 2 years ago as the pitching coach. And I felt that was something of extreme value to continue to have those connection points and make it stronger moving forward since I've taken over the program. I just think there's so much tradition, history, people that have moved on, whether it's having great professional baseball careers or moving into other facets and areas that can be beneficial for our players to hear about, and how they can succeed in other areas beyond baseball. Because let's just be realistic. There's probably a small percentage of guys that will move on from this roster and be Steven Strasburg or Tony Gwynn or on and on and on, a major league player. They're going to go on and become great professionals in other areas of life. So to have people with real life experience to come back and connect with our guys is invaluable.
Sean Cole is a new baseball coach at San Diego State. We're glad to have him on the program. They open their season tonight out at Tony Gwynn Stadium against the University of Portland. And Sean, look at this baseball team a little bit and taking it over. Where do you think it was? Where do you think it is? And where do you think it's going?
I'll answer that question in about 3 weeks. I think it's in a good place. I really do. Our strength the last couple of years has been pitching, and we're going to continue to try to maintain that on the hill. I've preached to our team, defense needs to be our backbone. If we're going to go deep in the postseason, we really got to play catch and make the routine plays consistently, and the great plays will show up. So that's something we've definitely been striving for, is to improve in that area. Offensively, traditionally, San Diego State's always been good offensively. So it's been a little bit of a head scratcher the last couple of years why we've been down, but I really expect to see improvement in those areas also. The coaching staff, Coach Tarasco, Coach McDougall, and Coach Foxcroft have all done a tremendous job getting our offense to a good place. So if we can get off to a good start tonight, I'm sure that'll lead to more consistent play.
Sean Cole joins us here on Gwynn and Chris, San Diego State's head baseball coach. And Sean, you mentioned starting the season off here against Portland. You got a team that is a mix of young and some returning guys. Where do you think the strong suit of this ball club is this year?
That's a good question. I think across the board with what I've seen so far, we have balance in all three spaces, offensively, defensively, and on the mound. Like I said just a little while ago, on paper, obviously our strong suit is pitching right now. We're trending to have our third conference pitcher of the year, and the last 2 years we've led the Mountain West and been top 25 in the country in a lot of pitching categories. So that needs to continue to be the strength, but we're really preaching balance. In order to win a lot of games, you got to have balance. You got to play catch on defense, put the ball in play on offense, and fill up the strike zone on the mound.
To me, Sean, college baseball is as good, as great as it's ever been. And, you know, I go back to when I played, when Tony played, not everybody played college baseball as a way to get to the major leagues. You know, guys would sign, they'd go right into the minor. And now it's almost, you know, automatic that if you want a big league career, you got to play some good college baseball somewhere. The sport's in a good place. You know, what do you think about college baseball as a growing field for young players?
I agree with you. It's probably in the best space that it's been since I've been in college. You know, more TV viewership, there's more interest, more excitement around the game. More players are showing up in college. They're seeing it as a better avenue to shorten that time in the minor leagues to get to the big leagues. I think the restructuring of the draft and also reducing some of the teams in the minor leagues has also had a big impact on that decision to go to school. So I think it's great for the game. I want to continue to see it grow, especially all throughout the country. Right now, the SEC, I think, has taken a step forward in front of everybody, but it's for us on the West Coast and other parts of the country to catch up. And I think that's going to happen and just make the game strong across the board.
Talk a little bit about your background, Sean. I mean, you are kind of, I feel like kind of the new age coach coming in and has some professional experience, has dabbed a little bit in different areas in the college level. You mentioned you had you were a pitching coach here for 2 years prior to getting the head coaching job. How do you think that helps and not only helps with the players and development, but being able to put together coaching staffs and things of that nature?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I started really my first job in baseball. I was an intern for the Seattle Mariners in baseball operations. And then I transitioned over to the college side at a junior college, and then went to the University of Arizona as a young coach and got to cut my teeth and learn under a legend, Andy Lopez, and be a part of a national championship, which was a great experience. And then I transitioned to become the director for the 18U national team, which really opened up my eyes to international baseball. So you get to see Cuba, you get to see Japan, the way they go about their business. And then circling back to college, it just gives me a different lens and perspective to be able to talk to these student athletes about, hey, this is what it looks like at the next level. Because after USA Baseball, I went to the San Diego Padres and I was involved in scouting and player development. So to be able to speak firsthand, hey, this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
This is what your days are going to look like. I think it's invaluable. And then it definitely expanded my network. That was one of the reasons why I was able to hire Tony Tarasco. We worked together with the Padres, and to have a guy on staff that played in the big leagues for 9 years and has been a first or third base coach at the major league level, that just adds more validity when coaches are out there speaking about player development or things they need to do, routines on and off the field, and what it really truly looks like. So it's grown me tremendously to dabble on the pro side and be on the international side, and I think it's made me a better coach coming back to the college game.
San Diego State baseball gets started tonight against Portland. Coach, I saw the preseason predictions, and that's always fun to clip out and put up in a locker room, especially since they have you guys fourth. I know you guys want to prove that wrong. Give us a couple of players that we can keep an eye on. I know you have some returning all-conference type guys.
Yep. Definitely gave us some motivational material to hang up in the locker room. It's laminated, and there's some notes written on there, and so it's good. It's a gift that was given to us, but we have some key guys that are returning. Xavier Gonzalez, who's arguably the best shortstop in the conference, and his bat has really excelled in the last couple of months. So if he's able to impact the game on both sides, I think that's going to be valuable. On the mound, we have some experience tonight. Chris Canada, he's been our Saturday guy. He was our Sunday guy as a freshman. Omar Serrano is another experienced junior. Last year was our Sunday guy. And then Xavier Cardenas, who is probably right now our highest level prospect. He's throwing on Sundays. He's a sophomore, and he can run it up there at 95 to 98. So I'm sure he's going to get a lot of attention this year. And then we also have Jaden Berkovich, who's closing for us, who's a redshirt senior, if I remember right, with all the COVID rosters and changes. Sometimes I feel like these guys have been here for 10 years. Yeah. So, we have some freshmen that are exciting. Finley Bates is going to get an opportunity to play second base tonight. Josh Casada, a kid from Florida, left-handed bat, he's going to be in the DH spot. And then Colby Turner is going to start at third base. And then a local San Diego product from Madison High School, Jake Jackson, is going to be in left field. So they're going to bring some energy and excitement and hopefully push some of those older guys. And then you have really good, solid defense with Irv Weems and Montoya, who are older guys that are running around in center field and right field.
Well, Sean, we wish you the best of luck. Tony and I will be supporting as best we can. Unfortunately, I certainly can't contribute on the field any longer. Tony could probably still run down a few fly balls for you if really need be. But, we'll be keeping an eye on you guys. We wish you nothing but the best. Keep the Aztec baseball program strong. And congratulations on the new gig and best of luck.
Thank you, guys, and go Aztecs.
The new head man at San Diego State, Sean Cole. All right. USD's baseball scene opens up tonight. We got odds on their game. Also, the Aztecs-New Mexico matchup. We'll take a look at all of it in the Daily Gambit. Kicking off hour number 2 next.
Kicking it off. tell you what, you come in here at your own peril, because you might catch some strays.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's be fun to come into the studio, but Frank Marchese checked in, and we proceeded to rip on the Mets for about 10 minutes. Well, you know what? The funny thing is, Frank rips on his own team worse than we.
I mean,
do,
that's the Met way, though. That's
it is.
they are famous for ripping on their own team.
Yeah, but you want to come in here, be prepared to take some heat about whatever your favorite team might be.
We got Daily Gambit. Had some bets. I'm not sure how I did. I feel like I didn't have a good day. But we're going to find out here shortly. Skraby, you all right over there, man? You seem a little fired up today.
I'm fine.
Yeah?
I'm actually really ready for a 3-day weekend.
Oh, that's right. It's a 3-day weekend.
Man,
I didn't even not know.
If Chris showed up on Monday to work and no one's here.
It's not like it's really
I was about to say,
he's
he's just walking up the street. It's not like it's a big deal.
It would be hilarious, though.
Like if you or I made that mistake, we'd be
would
pissed.
cost you.
Yeah.
Out of anyone in this room, I think, Tony, you're the one to show up on a Monday when it's a holiday.
Probably am.
After all, Tony showed up without any equipment a couple of weeks ago.
I think it was last Thursday.
And my wife brought my stuff.
He
up
was
there.
completely empty-handed.
Like literally in the car. Like
he had nothing.
I have nothing.
You had nothing.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I am having the hardest time right now finding NASCAR odds. It's kind of crazy.
I wonder why.
How I cannot. NASCAR is a big betting sport.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
What do you bet on?
The Daytona 500.
No, but just who's going to win the race?
Oh, yeah, who's going to win the race. And you can do in-race betting where it's like who's going to lead at lap 100 and who's going to lead the most laps, things of that nature.
That's really the only thing you could bet is who's leading, right? There's no other prop bets in there. Like
no, there are.
Oh, there'll be like
maybe
where they do like a crash or something.
Or
like
how many yellow flags will there be over under 6.5 type of thing?
According to what I have here, and I have discovered this, the co-favorites to win the NASCAR Cup. Oh, this is the whole series.
Yeah, that's what I keep finding. Well, they haven't. I don't know that they've actually finalized the field yet. So that's probably
for
why
the
I can't
Daytona
find
500.
It. Yeah. So no.
Well,
sorry,
they better
everybody.
finalize it soon. The race is in 2 days, right?
Yeah. Let me see if they've already qualified. They may qualify. Daytona.
You know what? Don't find out.
It's okay.
Because really, there's not one person listening right now who cares
really
what
cares.
the final field is. Is Jimmy Johnson involved?
I can't answer that.
All right.
What? We can't answer that because
I don't know if he is or not.
That's the only thing anybody around these parts would care about.
I'm looking real quick. Will Jimmy Johnson race in the? Okay. Well, thank you for answering my question, Tennessean.
NASCAR.
You're wasting valuable time.
We're gonna talk about the bets we made last night, and then I'll go and try to find
that's
the answer to
probably
that.
a good idea.
All right, first bet we made last night, Tony. Caitlin Clark, over under 36.5. And I'm very sorry because I've been spelling her first name wrong for months. It's not a K, it's a C. So if anybody's seen that, it wasn't on purpose. You didn't know that either.
Yes, I did.
But hers was over under 36.5 points. Not only did she get the 36.5, but she got 49 points. Chris said over. Tony and I said under. So Chris wins that one easy.
And she is now the all-time leading scorer, and she said it in style.
From the logo.
From next to the logo. I want to be accurate, but yeah, it was a deep three.
I can't wait till we have this
I don't know who. I mean, you wouldn't even think to guard her out there. I mean, she's only like 1 or 2 steps beyond the center court line when she let it fly. She's got her range is pretty good.
When you can shoot like that, it just opens up the court. So because if I got to guard you from the logo, I mean, that's that much more space you have that you can.
She made one later in the game when she got fouled. It was a 4-point play from the logo.
She's honestly one of the most exciting basketball players we got going right now.
Pretty good.
We're going to have to talk about – I have a question for you guys about quote unquote a logo shot.
All right.
We're gonna have to talk about that later. So
this would be interesting.
the next one.
Why don't you look up NASCAR futures instead?
I tried and
You can't find it.
While we're on the subject of exciting things to talk about,
why do you have to take shots at NASCAR?
We're just saying that you're not going to find it.
All right, Colorado and UCLA played last night. Yes, UCLA +2.
Are you skipping right now? Or are you like, you have like a scratch on you or something?
Thank you, Tony. UCLA +2. UCLA did win 64-60. You guys chose Colorado. I chose UCLA. So 1-1.
You got one there.
I did. USD was next. They were 6.5-point favorites over the Portland Pilots. Chris chose Portland. Tony and I chose the Toreros. The Toreros won, but they only won by 5, 71-66.
Win for me.
Haven't won one yet.
Now, Chris, you're going to have to help me with UCSD score last night.
They blew them out. They won by 17. I didn't get
okay.
the exact score. I think it was 81-64, but
We all chose
UCSD with
yeah.
a nice win last night.
We all chose UCSD. We were all correct. Final bet, Timberwolves over and the Portland Trailblazers. Timberwolves 9.5-point favorites in that one. T-Wolves win 128-91. Chris chose Portland. Tony and I chose the Timberwolves.
Well, I went with the Portland double dip there. I went with the basketball Portland and the NBA Portland. I guess, what's his name? DeAndre Ayton just decided
it's too snowy.
Was there a
blizzard? Is there a blizzard out there again?
I mean, you shouldn't lose ever by 37 points on your home floor in an NBA game, even if you're playing a team that's better than you.
If I'm not mistaken,
that's a no-show.
Somebody lost by 50 the other day to the Celtics.
Yeah, but at least it was on the road. It was Brooklyn at Boston.
Yeah, and there was a live spread.
I don't know that you should ever lose by 58, regardless.
Yeah, home or away.
The live spread was minus 47.5 at the time that they had like their
the
biggest
live
deficit.
spread.
Hey, 97.3 The Fans microphones on MLB Network, everybody.
Hey, and the yellow hat of the Padre spring training is on the head of Xander Bogaerts.
Yes, but that's it for the
answering
bets
a bunch of questions
we made yesterday. Now I do have odds now. I found them.
Took you long enough.
Well,
for what?
they're
the
not,
Daytona 500.
Yeah, they're not in the format that I like. It's not like the plus 200 or something, but they're like the
What
format that Chris likes. 19-2, 10-1 odds, things of that nature. So the Kyle Busch is 10-1, Denny Hamlin 10-1, Brad Keselowski 19-2, or 19, yeah. Ryan Blaney 11-1, Joey Logano 12-1, Chase Elliott 14-1. Longest odds I could find, BJ McLeod 250-1. So there you guys go.
I have no response to that.
Wish I could.
I don't know why.
I wish I had a comment for you.
I think it's so funny when people have I'm too cool for NASCAR. Or, I'm too cool for motorsports.
I'm just.
I didn't say anything of the kind. I just
Skraby,
don't
you are
enjoy
famous
NASCAR.
for putting words in people's mouths.
Neither
of us ever said we were too cool for NASCAR.
I
Yeah, I
need my
didn't say
time back, everybody. I can't listen to NASCAR.
I don't care for NASCAR racing. That doesn't mean that I have anything further to say.
I don't think Chris is alone in that.
I'm better than all of you because I don't pay
Could you stop talking like that, please?
You know,
So bad.
your versions of my voice get worse and worse and worse.
No, my versions of your voice just match the situation that's in, and you were too hoity-toity for us, so I had to be a hoity-toity voice.
Oh my Lord!
I don't watch NASCAR.
What are you supposed to be?
Sean Connery.
Sean
or
Connery. That's
something.
what I thought. Fuck you, fake Sean
Anyway,
Connery.
Chris, take it away.
Okay. Here we go.
Now you're like Eeyore.
Things you should be doing instead of watching NASCAR this weekend.
What?
Focus in on some of these games. All right, first up on our bet last night. By the way, Skraby, you were 3-2.
Woo.
I was 3-2. Tony 2-3. Texas Longhorns are a 2.5 run favorite over the San Diego Toreros tonight in the college baseball opener down in Austin. I remember many years ago, USD went in there and beat Texas early in the season, 2 out of 3, and kind of stamped themselves as a national baseball contender. I don't know where USD is these days, but 2.5 runs, I'll take USD. Why not? I don't know. It's just one baseball game. Tony, what about you?
Give me the Brock Ungridge led
Yeah,
USD
gotta go with Brock there.
Toreros.
Skraby?
You know, I did some talking to someone about this very game.
Yeah.
And
Where did that talking to someone get you?
Who was that someone? Braden Surprenant?
I'm not going to reveal my source.
I'm sure it was.
Sounds like it.
But I'm going to take, and this is not based on what he said, but I'm just feeling like Texas wins. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Based on what he said.
Sorry. No, it's
You know what I got for you, Skraby?
What? Horns down?
Horns down.
Chris, you better not do that.
Yeah, I know people are going to
Yeah.
get mad.
Yeah.
You might get attacked when you leave here.
You know, it's just classless when they go horns down.
It's really not.
It's not. It's not at all, actually.
Stop taking it so hard. Tonight out at Viejas Arena, San Diego State is a 6-point favorite over the New Mexico Lobos. Tony, we've already talked about it. Of course, the only thing we've talked about is the fact that Jalen House is the most hated player in the conference. The Aztecs better, realize that New Mexico's got some other pretty good players beyond him. What do you think tonight?
I think the Aztecs pass with flying colors tonight.
Okay. One thing the Aztecs have better do is get off to a good start, which they have not been doing at all recently. They've been down like 10 points in the first 5 minutes of 3 or 4 straight games. Skraby, what about you? Lobos +6? Interest you?
Yes.
Taking the Lobos.
Yeah, I think San Diego State wins, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, this is going to be a close game. I think New Mexico stays within 6, but I'm hoping the Aztecs find a way. Last year, the only game the Aztecs lost at home was to New Mexico.
Time to avenge the loss.
Got to avenge that. Tomorrow, number 1 ranked UConn gets a challenge. They're at home, but 7-point favorites over Marquette. Marquette's a top 20 team. And I believe Skraby's first on this one.
I did see Marquette was doing good things, so I'm going to pick Marquette.
You're going to take the 7.
Yes, I am.
Against the defending national champs.
Yes.
Number 1 team in the land.
Yes.
I'll take Marquette also. UConn's due for one game where they're just a little off. They've been on a serious roll for a while now. Tony, what about you?
Yeah, this ain't it. It'll be UConn tonight.
UConn again. That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Saturday game. One more in the Mountain West tomorrow. Colorado State -4 against the league leaders, Utah State. Game is at Colorado State, Tony.
Oh, I like, we talk about going on the road. Not easy in the Mountain West. Give me Colorado State.
Given the points. Skraby?
Colorado State's -4, right?
That's right. Your old alma mater, but of course every place
One
is
of your
I don't
many
really
old
say
alma
that
maters.
anymore because every place is your alma mater.
I was just trying to get a college education, okay?
Yeah, in many places.
Nobody would keep you.
My college education consisted of
every college kept spitting you back out of the system.
Every college, or Colorado State. I majored in partying in Colorado State. So.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Utah State.
Oh, you're gonna take the points. I'll take Colorado State as well. The home court advantage. One more Sunday. Tony will be the only one in this room watching this game.
All-Star game?
The West is favored by 2.5 over the East.
This is the dumbest bet we've ever made.
No kidding.
It's not.
How
My
they,
favorite.
How they have found a way to put a spread on the All-Star game is beyond me, but they have.
They're going to play defense this year.
They have deemed that the West is 2.5 points better.
They're going to play defense
They're going
this
to play
year?
defense this year.
It's going to be
we'll
like
see.
87-85 this year?
No, that's too much defense.
That
Just-
would
yeah,
never happen. Skraby, you're up for the classic All-Star matchup.
I'm going to go with the West.
You're going to give the points.
Yep.
Oh, I got a better bet than this, honestly. I mean, I'll give you that. You're good taking the West. I'll take. Let's see. The Bulls don't have a player, right? So I'll take the West also. No reason for me to root for the East. Tony, West.
I'm taking the West.
Okay, I'm adding a bet.
Oh.
The over/under for this game.
Oh.
Listen to this.
300.
363 points is the over/under. They're expecting a score of 180-something to 180-something. Tony,
give me the under.
You're going to say under. You're standing by your
I'm standing by
prediction
the
that they're going to play
defense.
defense.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm saying it's the first 200-point game in NBA history. Somebody will get
Really?
200. I'll go over. Skraby,
I'm going to go under.
you're going to go under.
That's a
also.
lot.
Oh, that's a ton. All right. We'll see how we do on Tuesday. So we're off Monday.
Yes, we are. Let's
Very
get to
good.
break. Let's get back on track here. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. There's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan
Chris Hello here from my friends at Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine, locations in La Jolla and in All right, welcome back to the program. 3:22 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Skraby. ESPN Plus, the pay-for-service service that I subscribe to on my very own, just to get great information for all of you out there, asked 11 experts to pick their Super Bowl for next year. Thought this was interesting, Skraby. Thought you'd enjoy. Of the 11, how many do you think have the 49ers returning to the Super Bowl next year?
11.
I don't know.
Tony says 11. All 11 have the 49ers returning to the Super Bowl, according to Tony. How about you, Skraby?
I'm just going to say, because Chris would only bring this up if the 49ers were being talked trash on, but 0.
Talk trash on.
Seth Walder, sports analytics writer, is the only one of the 11 that predicts the 49ers will be back in the Super Bowl next year.
That's a fair prediction, though.
It isn't a bad idea. We already went over the fact that no Super Bowl losing quarterback or making a debut and losing the Super Bowl has ever gone back to the Super Bowl. At least 18 straight times that's happened.
You know what that means, Grape?
And that means Brock Purdy's never going to find another Super Bowl again.
Not only that, that means Kyle should start looking for his replacement.
I'm sure he already is. Trust me.
You're probably right.
He goes through quarterbacks quick.
Well, he's going to have to blame somebody beyond Steve Wilkes, so
Right.
maybe
He doesn't have that.
Maybe he'll
Wilkes
blame
anymore.
Brock Purdy next. The other thing is that there's a long stretch here of Super Bowl losing teams struggling the following season. Now, the Eagles look like they were going to switch the script on that the way they started this year.
Were they 11-1 to start the year?
Yeah, something like that.
Something,
10-0, 11-1. Anyway, yeah, they just
Man.
faded completely down the stretch. So right now, I think you'd have to favor the 49ers. Everybody's favoring them, et cetera, but lots going to happen between now and then. Of the 11, who do you think they say most is going to go to the Super Bowl?
Chiefs.
From the NFC side?
No, from the NFC side.
Detroit.
Cowboys.
Nope. Detroit 5,
Really?
Green Bay 3,
What?
the Rams 2,
Huh?
San Francisco 1. That's
That's
your
right.
11. On the AFC side, it's either Chiefs or Bills.
Yeah,
How about
Baltimore,
Bengals?
Chris, where are the Dolphins?
Nowhere.
No Baltimore?
Okay.
Not one. Not one.
Not even Baltimore. That's surprising.
There's one lunatic in here.
Lunatic.
Well, I'm going to say he's a lunatic. You be the judge. His name is Mike Tannenbaum. NFL front office insider says the Lions will benefit from both coordinators returning to Detroit, etc. They are the team I expect to win the NFC. They will win the Super Bowl, but I see them holding off Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, and the Chargers.
Oh.
Come on, please.
I saw a rumor.
How mad would that make San Diego?
No
Well, it's not
kidding.
going to happen, so we don't.
It's
have to
really
worry
not
about
going
it.
to happen. I mean,
I'm
come on.
just
Over
saying.
the Bengals, over the
I'm
Chiefs,
just-
over the Ravens, over the Bills.
Over the Dolphins.
Over the Dolphins.
I'm just saying.
No chance.
I'm just
I bet
saying.
you the Jets even beat the Chargers.
Would
next year.
Would you rather have at least had the thought than to be surprised and it happened and all of a sudden you got to deal with it?
It wouldn't affect my daily
Oh, you're
life.
saying that it's good that we're putting it in our head now, just in case something like this happens?
Just have it in there. Not likely.
Don't worry about it, because Mike Tannenbaum has not ever been right once.
That is accurate.
Isn't it? Right? I mean, this guy
Accurate.
comes up with stuff that is so far out of left field. Here's something that's not out of left field, Skraby. Your guy caught for cheating. That's right. Former 49er quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo will be suspended
he's
for
not
the
my
first 2
guy.
games of the
Jimmy
season.
G.
What do you mean he's not your guy? Who loves him more than you do? Jimmy G, Jimmy
There
G,
was a
Jimmy
time.
G, Jimmy
There
G,
was a
Jimmy
time.
G.
Yes,
Come
he
on.
was the 49ers quarterback. I have to love him by default.
You don't have to. You didn't love Trey Lance.
Jimmy G using the performance-enhancing substances. I do want to defend him to a certain extent. Apparently, the violation is said to be related to him using a prescribed medication, but it did not have a valid
He didn't have a TUE
use exemption from the league.
therapeutic
So it
use exemption.
Yes, it sounds a little like it was some red tape that
Yeah.
he didn't
clear.
clear, as opposed to just taking a needle and jamming it into his arm.
Yeah, you got to have that.
So we'll give Jimmy G the benefit of the doubt.
Man, that was a graphic description.
Graphic description.
You know who I saw?
Steroid use
You gotta
by
have
Jimmy
some-
G.
You got to have that TUE, man. That therapeutic exemption.
Oh,
Am I-
yeah.
am I-
Yes.
You get in trouble.
So this morning I got a text from our old guys, Odd Thomas and Will Galvez, and they sent me a tweet that was telling me who is rumored to likely take over as defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Can you guess who it is?
Can I guess who it is?
I'm not happy about it.
All right. Must have a
defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Does he have a connection to the Dolphins?
No.
Oh,
not that I know.
You're safe then.
Brandon Staley.
Oh, yeah.
Former Chargers head coach.
Yeah.
Who he is a defensive guy, but when his defense was on the field last year, they were awful.
He won't be able to go for it on 4th down, so you don't have to worry about that.
They shouldn't
I
have
just don't
fired
like
Steve
this.
Wilkes in the first place.
They
And
should have.
they,
Well, they probably
proved
should have,
it with a graphic on television
I
the other day.
saw it.
Steve Wilkes' defense is better than the one the 2 years before with
Better than
Ryan.
D'Amico Ryan, and better than
In what regard? In what
in
metrics?
yardage and points
yeah.
and everything.
I know.
But didn't you hear the philosophy issues?
Yeah.
But
And that's
why
why,
didn't you hear that Fred Warner
I'm so
didn't
glad
feel
that
comfortable?
I think
And
Stephen A. brought it up. He said, well, then what did you hire him in the first place? That's what I said.
I'm afraid that karma will have an impact on your 2024-5 season next year, Skraby.
It's not going to happen.
I'm just telling you.
10 of the 11 experts say no return to the Super Bowl
Chris
for the
only
49ers.
Karma.
Chris only likes to bring up experts when they fit his narrative. So
It's a fun narrative.
No,
though.
I brought up Mike Tannenbaum. He doesn't fit my narrative. He's got the Chargers.
no,
in
but
the
he
Super Bowl.
ultimately fits your.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, because he ultimately does.
Skraby, it's okay, buddy. It's going to be a long season for you next year.
By the way, I've been getting heat about the 49ers and how much I talk about them. Go back and check the tape. I didn't bring this up at all.
No, we did. We did.
Happy to bring it up,
We
Skraby.
enjoy terrorizing you about the 49ers.
You mean
Happy
when we
to
go to
bring it up.
commercial break and you turn up the mic'd up segment that's on the NFL and it was the part where Dre Greenlaw got hurt and you did that? Yeah.
I just wanted to hear, I wanted to feel the emotion on the field at that point.
I already felt it.
I'm sorry, I didn't. I needed that in my life.
Okay.
Skraby, are you a hater on the news from Kansas City today that the one and only Taylor Swift donated $100,000 to the family of Lisa Lopez Galvan,
That's the one lady
the woman
that
who was
lost her
killed
life,
in the
yeah.
shooting during the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade. I read this headline. I immediately felt really nice about it, really good about it. I think it's a really great gesture by Taylor Swift, but I can just see people out there going, oh, she's only doing this for the publicity, etc. So I have to ask you,
how do you feel about it?
I mean,
Scrape?
is this going to make your way into your daily rant later on in the
Oh, no.
Skraby Chronicles?
This is a good thing.
No.
This is okay with you?
My daily rant has to do with how I'm getting old. So I'll tell you about that
Because I'm
later.
just going to give you all of you a little insight into what Skraby said off
No,
the air.
no, let me talk about what I said.
All right, well, then include what you told me. Give them the whole story.
I don't honestly remember, but I am. No, I know the gist of it, and it was that
You're so
I think it's
conveniently
amazing.
forgetful.
No, I think it's amazing that she's donating $100,000 to this family because that is what this family needs.
But
She signed it Taylor Swift. Like, why do you need to sign it Taylor Swift? I really am not going to like badmouth her for this, but because I know that she wasn't the one that was actually doing this. Like one of her people
You're
was.
saying it should have been anonymous.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not thinking that she wants any publicity. She does not need any publicity.
I don't
There's
think
no
so.
publicity stunt here, but it was
But
very
she can use a
strange.
little goodwill in the minds of, especially in the minds of football fans. I think everybody is out there going to say, hey, this is a really nice thing to do.
Agree.
Football fans are hit and miss on Taylor Swift, whether it's her fault or not.
I think that even means Kansas City fans. I was listening to their mayor talk about it in the way he was talking about it. And kind of indicated that
she's pulled too much attention away from the Chiefs.
No. He was saying that some of the fan base is feeling that way. He said personally he thinks it's a good thing for their team, but I think that's a sentiment that
I do.
Quite a few people have.
So anyway, thumbs
Tyler
up
makes a somewhat good point. Well, at least I didn't go this route like Diesel. Only $100,000. Every time I think about that,
I honestly thought that would have been the first thing I heard.
You know what I thought of when I found this all out? I heard Tony in my head telling me, "What? So what? She's got to donate because she's got money." Yeah. So she gives $100,000. But Tyler makes a good point. If she didn't put her name to it, everybody would complain why she didn't give anything.
Tyler, I said the same thing to Skraby off there. I was like, if If she didn't put her name on, you'd be like, I bet you it was Taylor Swift and she didn't put her name on it because she wanted the publicity.
Or they would say that,
Is
hey,
that how I sound?
or they would say somebody's donating $100,000. Where's Taylor Swift?
That's
So
also
she
true.
takes care of both.
Let
of
me
those
just say
issues.
for the record, I
in
think
other
this
words,
is
damned if you do,
amazing.
damned if you don't.
But
Right.
you know, in the notes section as well, she just copy and pasted the same because you can only I guess you can only donate $50,000 at a time, like that's the max, and so she had to donate twice, but she put the same blurb in each one.
It's for her record, so it's all good.
It's for her records.
Yeah.
All of you Taylor
You know
Swift,
she's gonna write this off too.
all of you Taylor Swift haters, I'm sorry you have to take a little break from your Taylor Swift hate. This is a very kind thing to do.
Boom.
Coming up, our countdown. You guys about ready, or you gonna do a
Tony.
last second deal?
I think we're ready. I'm
Subject
ready.
today.
It's going to be a last second deal for your boy.
Well, you'll come up with it. Who are, in our estimation, the 5 greatest or our 5 favorite coaches or managers in the history of sports? This is pretty all encompassing. Think of your favorite 5. We'll have ours in the countdown coming up after the break.
339. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Countdown. Top 5 of our favorite / greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
No single sport. Covers all of them.
Can be anybody, too.
Yeah.
Can be somebody that coached you. I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to go in
I
that
could have went that
direction.
route. I decided.
You didn't go that route?
I opted away.
You mean Jerry, the car salesman who coached you in Poway Little League, is not in the running?
No, he's not. He's not in the running.
All right.
Although I had some great coaches.
Most of us do. Coaches are, they say after your parents or even alongside your parents, coaches / teachers have as much effect on
there's no doubt
young people as anybody.
As a guy who, played almost all sports.
Yeah.
Those are some of the lessons I think you take with you still as an adult, So
yes, sir.
Those are important people.
I'm going to do this countdown, but I think everybody already knows the 5 that I've chosen. Nick Saban,
Shula,
Lane Kiffin,
yep,
Bobby Petrino,
yeah, that's my favorite. Of
Steve
yours.
Alford, Tony La Russa.
I didn't realize that's where he's going.
Yeah.
But.
That's my 5.
If we really want to do a most hated, that we could definitely come up
That'd
with
be
a
my
list.
bottom 5.
I mean, but you said this, so he has to be on your list.
I wanted to congratulate my favorite college football coach, Nick Saban.
His guy.
That's
His
it.
guy. That's what he said.
Yeah.
All
wasn't really considered by me for this countdown.
Let's check traffic and then get to this countdown.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by San Diego Mojo. Getting reports of some debris in the fast lane, eastbound 56, right past Camino del Sur. Also in the Fallbrook area, southbound side of the 15 past Mission Road. Debris reported in middle lanes. Traveling on the North 5 coastline right before Las Flores. Stalled vehicle in the center divide. Get ready because the San Diego Mojo Pro Women's Indoor Volleyball Team is taking professional sports to a whole new level. Don't miss the nonstop excitement of indoor volleyball starting this month at Viejas Arena. Visit SanDiegoMojoBB.com today. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, who are our 5 favorite coaches of all time? Skraby, you want to start? You in the mood to start today?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Number 5.
My number 5 is going to be random for you guys. So, the story behind it is because of how hard this person worked to get to their position, and it would be Miami Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra.
That's a really good one.
He worked in the video room doing tapes for the scouting department. And so that's how he learned a lot of his basketball, was through watching all these videos and putting them together. But he legitimately worked up from the ground to get to where he's at.
Yeah, and you know how Skraby loves nepotism and people who get jobs thanks to their parents.
That's right.
Where's he going with this?
You're about to find out, buddy.
You're about to find out. Eric Spoelstra's father was a guy named John Spoelstra, who was only president of the Portland Trail Blazers for years and years and years. And I'm not saying that's how Eric Spoelstra got in on the ground floor, but it probably didn't hurt. I'm just throwing that at you because I know how you love nepotism.
Hey, you should have seen his whole spirit change when he heard that.
I will say this. I don't like it when people get if he was hired to be a head coach right away, that would be, but
Right.
he
But
he
you're
really
okay because
did.
he had to go from a video guy to
As long as you have to work your way up, that's what I care about.
I'm not taking anything away from Eric Spoelstra.
He's a great
I think
coach.
it's a pretty good call.
He's actually a Hall of Fame coach.
He
At this
probably
point.
is.
Yeah.
Like Tony, no one gave you a starting spot in the major leagues. You had to work for it.
No,
So
that's very true.
yes,
Greg.
that's what I'm after, is the work.
All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go
Tony or-
next.
You go.
My first, the first real representation of coaches for me was watching college basketball.
Okay.
And number 5 on my list, and so if college basketball is going to be on this list more than once, but number 5 on my list is John Thompson, the late John Thompson,
call.
Georgetown, Hoya.
He was a leader of young men.
He certainly was.
Really did a hell of a job.
Whether we're talking Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, or even later in Allen Iverson, he produced a lot of not only good ball players, but dudes who turned out to be good people down the line.
Yes, he did. And I think he was a big part of the growth of African Americans getting opportunities in coaching.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he took the ball and went to the top of the sport with it. People said, hey, wait a minute. Why aren't we looking at this opportunity? It's a good call. My number 5 is the only one who coached me. I'm going to go with Coach Dietz.
Good one.
The reason I'm going to go with Coach Dietz is because I've always liked the giants of the coaching world. The Bobby Knights, the Krzyzewskis, Dean Smiths, I don't know, in college football, Woody Hayes, whoever. Anyway, I never got to work with any of those people, but I did get to play under Coach Dietz. And he's my giant, I guess. I mean, because he was able to run the whole program and did run the entire program.
Everything.
From mowing the lawn.
From groundskeeping
Yeah.
to scheduling to recruiting.
Right. From the day that I walked into his office and he said, what classes do you want to take? And he picked up the phone and 5 minutes later hung up the phone and gave me my class schedule.
There you go.
That's what I was just so impressed with him. But more importantly than that, Tony, as you know, he helped me a lot further on in my later life after I was done with baseball. He cared a lot about me and really gave me a lot of opportunities and helped me, just specifically. And he did that for all of his players. So
yeah.
Coach Dietz makes my list, sneaking in at number 5.
Number 4.
My whole list is a sham after I found out about Eric.
His spirit is rattled now.
I knew he was going to be rattled by that
have
one.
we have a chat that I want to read from Dan, and I'm putting it up right now. It says, "Why Johnny Skraby look like someone just walked over your grave?"
Sorry about that,
He
Skraby.
does not like nepotism at all.
Doesn't.
I have another suggestion. Top 5 coach Pat Summit.
All right, well, don't give them all away. We might get to some of these.
we only have
You never
4,
know,
man.
Chris. Yeah, we're only on
Where's
number
Bob
4.
Baffert, Chris?
Bob Baffert?
He's a coach.
Coaching?
He's a coach.
Well, I haven't finished my list yet. I've
All
only given
right.
you one name.
All right, my number 4 is going to be a golf coach, and he was kind of credited for how good Tiger was. Butch Harmon was the guy.
Butch Harmon.
He was the golf coach to every big name golfer back in like the early 2000s, maybe late 90s type thing. But Butch Harmon has been around for a long time.
I will say I give a lot of credit to golf coaches because I think it'd be a really difficult thing to do. You're taking one of these guys that is
Already
naturally
established,
gifted,
yeah.
naturally amazing, and then you look at their swing and you go, all right, we got to change that entire thing. And they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
And they're able to do it.
And they can.
And you can't pick up the club for them. They
No,
have
they
to
have to
act,
do
you
it
have
for
to be
them.
able
Yeah.
to pass that information along.
There was a show with Michael Phelps. He wanted to become a golfer that would shoot under 80, and the show was with Hank Haney, and he practiced every single day for months. And it just is something you have to be born with, is to be a great golfer.
Butch Harmon, interesting call.
Yes, I wanted to get some different ones.
You did,
Tony. Number
Sorry,
4.
I was lost.
I know
and
you're
exhausted.
watching the Super Bowl again.
Number 4 on my list takes me back to my childhood as well, and I was fortunate enough to end up at a school where he also coached, and that's Steve Fisher. Is number 4 on my list. He really his Fab 5 got me started on loving basketball. And then to have the opportunity to get to know him,
right?
See him turn a program that was
You could have played for him, Tony. Greg Gottlieb told us the story that you were being considered as a potential Aztec for a year there.
Just being able to get a chance to know Coach Fisher and then see him build a program from nothing.
Incredible.
He has to be on the list. He's number 4 on my list.
Number 4 is the most obvious choice I would make, Don Shula. If you're a Dolphin fan, there's no way I can't put him on there. So Shula's in at number 4.
How about Chris yesterday meaning to hit us with the thumbs up?
Oh, and I
hit
said
us with
the
the
dolphin
dolphin
emoji.
emoji instead.
That was hilarious, but I accept the dolphin emoji as well as
I can see it as a thumbs up. Yeah,
that means that you're
works.
happy, you're jumping out of the water. Thumbs up.
And I told you I did get to interview Coach Shula once, and that was a big highlight for me on the radio. He interrupted the interview halfway through from his hotel room because his lunch arrived.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I always ask what sandwich you ordered. But
Yeah, can't recall.
Yeah.
But I was
It's
more
like
than
the most
willing to give him the time
Said,
to go
hold
get
on,
a
let me.
sandwich.
I got to answer the door. My food's here. Give me a second.
And I said, okay.
It's like the most
Don
important
Shula.
thing about the interaction was what was he eating, but you didn't get that.
I probably did. I just don't recall. It's
Oh,
been a
okay.
while.
You could definitely see Chris ask him when he came back. But what'd you get?
Yeah.
Number 3.
My number 3 is someone that was very nice to me in my early days of radio. So this is a personal connection, but this guy.
Competitors don't make excuses; they just make plays.
Rocky
Hey,
Long.
that's a great call.
Because I used to, one of my first jobs in sports radio was going to the Rocky Long press conference every week, and I asked questions, and he always asked my question, even if it was ridiculous. And one time I asked him what he was watching on Netflix, and he gave me a great answer. So he made me feel like maybe I can do this whole question.
He's a real person.
It was
Rocky
a
Long.
train. It was a show. It was like a documentary on a train, like company.
Okay.
I've never heard of it, but he really loved it. He had glowing reviews of it.
Rocky Long's as real of a person as you'll ever find out there.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, Tony Gwynn Jr.
This man allowed my childhood to be different than probably every other childhood in America, or other baseball players at least. Bruce Bochy's number 3 on my list.
Yes.
Not because I got a chance to play for him, but certainly spent a lot of time in his clubhouses growing up. It was a welcoming environment. I learned a lot about baseball and life being in those clubhouses, and without the manager's consent, none of that would have happened. And Bruce Bochy allowed me to grow up in a Padre
That's right. He let you
clubhouse.
run around in
He
there.
did. I didn't run around too much in there, but yeah, Bruce Bochy's third on my list. That's just aside from the World Series he's been able to stack
No
up at this
kidding,
point.
man.
So
Yeah, Bochy would have made my list, but he should have won one with the Padres before heading out. Number 3 for me is the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden. I grew up in L.A., and you talk about shaping a young person's life. I certainly never played for him, but I read everything he ever wrote and heard everything he ever said. And if you follow the advice of John Wooden, things turn out pretty good. And it was probably, it's a generation or two before everybody is around now, but the Wizard of Westwood was way up there in my childhood growing up in L.A.
All right.
Number 2.
My number 2 is how could I ever forget Mr. Earl Weaver? Chris was the one who introduced me to Earl Weaver right when I started working the show. And I have watched so many Earl Weaver videos, and I can't play any of them because it's all bleeps the entire time. Especially the one where he's like, you're bleeping, bleep, bleep. And the guy's like, calm down, Earl. That was the umpire.
Calm down, Earl.
It's really great. Look up Earl Weaver videos.
that's a good example of how umpires used to handle crazy managers back then. Like he's trying to play peacemaker, whereas now it just feels like they would have been nose to nose, both spitting on each other, yelling at each other.
Yeah.
There are some classic clips of Earl Weaver. He's got to be the most entertaining manager of all time.
Uh,
Certainly
no-
in the hunt.
Number 2 on my list is a split. I couldn't decide between the two, but I love me some Pat Riley. I love me some Phil Jackson. They both brought championships to my team. Earlier, I got to watch my dad's excitement of Pat Riley's and the Magic Johnson, James Worthy era, and then Phil Jackson came over, and I got to enjoy the Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal era. I think 2 of the greatest coaches in the NBA history right there.
Pretty good. And who knew Pat Riley was going to be a great coach? He was a commentator.
The best part about
Took him out of
Pat
the booth.
is that he very much I feel like he saw a lot of himself in Eric Spoelstra when he hired him, because that was very basically the same path Pat Riley took to becoming a head coach.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, you mentioned him, Steve Fisher. I think he's one of the greatest, not only coaches I've ever met, but greatest guys I've ever had a chance to hang out with and spend a lot of time with. And the job he did at San Diego State is beyond. I don't know that anybody could ever match it anywhere you ever went. And just the most sensational guy I've hung out with in the coaching profession and that I can think of. So, and the Fab Five is just an addition to it. And how talk about somebody taking advantage of an opportunity. Remember, he was an assistant coach at Michigan when Bill Frieder got fired right before the NCAA tournament. Somebody said, Steve Fisher, you go ahead and coach these guys. Right before the tournament started. And all he did was win all 6 games in the national championship.
That was just his first act, too.
Yeah, that'll put you on the
You could
map.
argue his second act was even stronger.
Yeah. Coach Fish, number 2 for me.
Number 1.
Self-serving, but the Jim Harbaugh stint with the 49ers is my favorite coaching period of all time because I was old enough to remember.
See, you're
and
not
I
old
was
enough to
living
remember
it.
Bill Walsh because I thought
No.
for sure he'd be on your list.
See, I don't remember Bill Walsh. I barely remember George Seifert, but I definitely remember Jim Harbaugh and what he did. And I was the happiest 49er fan in the world during that time. And then he left, and then Chip Kelly came in, and I became a depressed one. Anyway, Jim Harbaugh, 49ers on my list.
Number 1 on my list is Jim Dietz, San Diego State's
numero
coach.
uno.
For all the reasons, I mean, this man did everything. I mean, including having a chopper fly over our field to get the water off after a couple
Still the
rainy
craziest
days.
thing I've heard.
I mean, he just did everything. He was the first person that at least opened my eyes to the fact that one day I could play college baseball. First one. And, initially I didn't believe him. I thought, okay, this is my dad's coach just telling me something I want to hear. But he was steadfast. He just never left it alone. And so, yeah, he's number 1 on my list.
My number 1 greatest coach of all time is Phil Jackson, not only for what he accomplished, and you're the Lakers, I'm with the Bulls, but everything I've ever read by Phil Jackson. And I highly recommend a book called Sacred Hoops, Spiritual Lessons of a Hardwood Warrior. Taught me a lot about coaching, but more about life and lessons that I've carried through to this day. Phil Jackson, my number 1.
All right.
All righty.
That, my friend, is the end of the 3 o'clock hour.
We have Popovich in the chat real quick before we go.
Popovich.
Greg Popovich?
Oh, great coach.
All right.
Spurs, though. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Chris versus the fans on the way, 833-288-0973.
97.3 The Fan.
Here we go at 4 o'clock. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby. San Diego's #1 sports talk station. That would be 97.3 The Fan. Don't forget next Thursday, first broadcast of the year, Padres baseball, spring training action against the Los Angeles Dodgers. You'll hear the game starting at noon next Thursday, right here on 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr., Jesse Agler will be on the mics once again this year. Looking forward to that. It's going to be another great year of Padre baseball. And one thing they will be describing is Xander Bogaerts playing second base and Hassan Kim shifting over to shortstop. That was announced today by manager Mike Schilt. We played a bunch of sound from Xander Bogaerts earlier on the program. Suffice to say, he chose his words carefully and wisely. And I don't think he's thrilled about it, but at the same time, he's doing what a good teammate and professional should do, Tony, which is go on over to second base and figure on doing the best he can there.
Yeah, be a pro. That's what they, sometimes as a leader, and I don't think there's any doubt Xander's one of the big leaders on this team. You have to put your own wants aside for the betterment of the team. And I think it's pretty clear that he's not fully on board with moving just yet, but I think he recognizes this is something the team thinks is best, and he's going to do it. He's going to do it nonetheless. And I think it takes the right type of individual to get to move or to ask these type of situations, to ask of these type of situations, but Xander's going to do it, and I think the team is going to be better for it.
One other baseball note to pass along before we get to Chris versus the fans. Utility man. I don't want to say utility man because he's a starter, but he plays a bunch of different positions. Whit Merrifield has signed today with the Philadelphia Phillies, a one-year contract worth about $8 million, which seems really affordable, but I think fair to point out that he is 35 years old. He's been around for a while. Phillies are going to take a shot on Whit Merrifield. So
this was a big topic last night on the Skraby show, so we got some answers.
What do you mean?
What was the big topic?
I was talking about different free agents that are out there right now that would be cheap and also just could come in for like a one-year deal. And so it was Whit Merrifield came up, but then I looked, he was 35 years old. And I was like, I don't know. So I looked at his stats, 26 stolen bases last year. He had a good year last year for $8 million. But anyway, he's not going to be a Padre.
Right now, the Phillies have Brandon Marsh slated to play left field, young Johan Rojas in center. They have second base, Bryson Stott. Those are the positions that Merrifield plays. But I imagine he'll fill in and get his turn at all of those spots and more. So there you have it. You're pretty much up to date. Aztecs, New Mexico, later on tonight at Viejas. Talk a little bit more about that. But first, we got to have some trivia.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Did we do the prize yet?
We have not.
All right.
I love when you do it.
I don't want to do it today.
All right, you're qualified for the grand prize, a 2-night stay at Westgate, Las Vegas. 2 tickets. See how I'm just a team player? I just jump right in.
Pick up the slack, baby.
That's right, wherever I'm needed. 2 tickets to Air Supply with a legacy spanning decades. Air Supply, and yes, they get plenty of Air Supply. They continue to captivate hearts. They're now in their 45th anniversary year. They continue to play more than 130 shows a year worldwide. They'll be celebrating their music and enduring legacy May 31st, June 1st at the Westgate International. Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. The rules.
You have to make it through 3 questions. You see how I jump in there just like a team player? Just going for
I'm
it.
glad you decided to be a team player this time.
You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you are a first-time
player.
It's disappointing.
All right.
They're doing something
Frankie
different.
Blue Eyes over
Thought you were thought you were a team player.
Oh, by the way, I'm watching and I didn't click on this. It just came up on my screen. The NBA celebrity basketball game is getting underway in the All-Star week, and of course, they're playing on the
glass
floor.
Where is
Or
that?
you guys got to watch this. It's a little different look.
It's on ESPN or TNT.
Looks like I'm assuming ESPN since it's showing up on ESPN.com.
Okay.
So
Good, we
yell
can
at
turn off
me.
this stupid Super Bowl now.
Skraby.
Let's get to our first contestant of the day.
Oh wait, did I ever finish first time player?
I'm not sure.
If you let us know before the first question, you get that for free.
All right. First participant. Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you today? Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday, gentlemen. Going to the game tonight.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Have fun.
Blackout. Let's go. First question.
Have fun, Ryan. Try to take it a little easy on Jalen House.
No, don't take it easy on him.
Oh,
Hard to
21.
pass.
Be tough.
Give it to him hard.
Give it to him.
What number does Patrick Mahomes wear?
15?
That is correct.
Winner.
By the way, we're loaded with questions today.
Yep.
Question number 2. Who closed the most games for the Braves last season?
Who closed the most games?
Yes.
Not saved?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, man. Oh. I do not know.
Stay there.
Iglesias.
Never mind.
Iglesias is.
I do play in a fantasy
Skraby,
baseball
did you see who the celebrity that
Yes,
just
I
came down?
cannot get away from the Super Bowl. We
McCall
turned on this
Hardman
thing, and McCall Hardman's in the game.
running down
the first one to be introduced. But I gotta say, this floor looks crazy.
You like it, or it's just too crazy for you?
I like
so
it.
far?
I gotta see the game being played.
The thing
but
is, they have a red carpet out, and I thought initially it was like a red carpet
No,
rolled
it's
out,
the
but it's
floor.
part of the floor.
it's
That's pretty
basically
crazy.
a big TV.
That's crazy. All right, here we go.
Floor is something to see. For
Next
sure.
contestant, Brandon. Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Hey, Tony, Chris, Skraby, how you doing?
Hi,
We are
Brandon.
well.
Good,
We
Brandon.
are well. Here we go. First question. The 500 and Daytona 500 stands for what?
Brandon knows this.
Miles. I'm not the biggest NASCAR fan, but I know that.
Yeah.
Got that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many laps is that, Brandon? Do you know?
I don't know.
All right, you don't need to know that.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
think it's like 200.
it's not
200,
important.
yeah.
'Cause
200.
the track is 2.25 miles. Or
Two and a
something?
half, I believe.
Two and a half.
Skraby, no one
I
cares.
don't know.
No one cares.
Everybody
Skraby.
cares.
Question number 2. Where is the world's largest bullfighting ring?
Digging deep.
I'm going to assume somewhere in Texas. I'll say Dallas.
Dallas, Texas. LO for the steal.
Stay there, Brandon.
Madrid.
Madrid.
Nah, my
Madrid.
best shot.
No, Mexico City is actually the answer.
Ah, Mexico City. That probably would have been a
Brandon,
good
you're
guess,
still in
too.
this thing. As
Still
we
alive,
move
Brandon.
to question number 3. Who was the first non-American golfer to win the Masters?
The first?
First.
Come on.
Rory McIlroy?
Rory McIlroy.
Well, he would have to win the Masters first.
He has not won one yet.
No, that's the only thing he needs left for the career Grand Slam.
I only have 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So I can't really think it through.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
since I can't think it through, I got to go with the first person that came to my mind, who's a foreign player, Gary Player.
You know. Sorry, Brandon.
Gary Player, 1961.
You know,
I almost went with Sevi Ballesteros, and then I
Ooh, that
thought
would've
of
been good.
Gary Player
Uh,
on
there,
top of that.
you know, I felt like there was a high probability that Chris would pull Gary Player out of his hat. So
Yeah. Pretty
All right.
popular, pretty well-known golfer.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Juan is our next contestant.
Oh,
Juan,
wait, Juan's gone.
Juan's gone. We go to Miguel.
Juan's no longer with us.
Miguel.
Juan, we hope you actually are still with us, just not with us.
How are you, Miguel?
I'm good, Tony. I'm good.
Hi, Miguel.
Here we go.
Here we go.
First
Great.
question. Miguel, who is going to play shortstop for your Padres this season?
Looks like it's going to be Hassan Kim.
I'm going to say you're right.
Sure does.
By the
Nice
way,
job.
it looks really cold in Indianapolis right now. Did you see that snow coming
not.
sideways?
I did not.
My Lord. Question number 2 will be Andy Reid coached for what NFL team to start his NFL coaching career?
I'm going to say the Eagles.
He's going to say the Eagles, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay there. Wait, what is this? It's not his head coach? It's not
No, just
Coaching
just
career.
coaching wherever. Oh God. I don't know.
You would never guess where he started his
Where his coaching career?
yeah, his entire coaching career.
I'll try the Packers, but I don't know. What? I got it. I must have read it somewhere. Seriously.
I mean, to be fair, Andy looks like he worked for the Packers at some point.
I must have seen it somewhere in his bio. What was he, like a quarterback's coach or something?
To start, he was
Wasn't he with Holmgren?
assistant
He was with Holmgren,
offensive
yeah.
line.
Yeah,
So
and
that's,
tight
I
ends
think I
coach.
actually just
We've
had
seen
heard that
pictures of him
somewhere.
on the sideline.
Guess where he started,
What do you mean?
like his
What?
coaching career
As a
a coach.
First ever coaching
Isn't it out
job.
here?
No,
No.
BYU.
Oh, awesome.
He went to BYU.
Awesome.
Really?
I
Even
didn't know
better.
this until I looked at this.
Yeah.
Don't tell me anymore. I like
Yeah,
Andy
but
Reid.
I want to try to keep liking him.
Let's go. Oh, we got a
Oh
new
wait,
contestant.
Juan's back.
All right.
Juan.
Juan is with us.
I'm gonna go with
Hello,
him.
Juan.
How's it going?
It's
Hi,
going
Juan.
well, man. Here we go. First question.
I hope you can win Juan today.
Who is the longest tenured head coach in Cowboy history?
Cowboys.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy. How about them Cowboys?
Oh my goodness.
It's got to be Tom Landry. I would think he was there for 100 years.
I mean, it could.
Sorry,
it
Juan.
can't be in Jerry Jones' there. He doesn't keep coaches long enough for you to have a long tenure.
Tom
So-
Landry
That's
was
true.
the only coach they had for like the first 30 years of the franchise.
All right, let's go to our next contestant. Poor Skraby. He did all these questions, and they're just getting
It's
picked
okay.
off
It's a 3-day weekend.
one by one. Riley, welcome to the show. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday, Tony.
Here we go. First question. What is Tiger Woods' new clothing brand called?
Sun, space, day.
One more.
Give it to me again.
Sunday red.
There you go.
He got it in
There
the
you
second
go.
try.
There you
I
go.
like how you said sun, space, day. That is the way
Here
to
we
answer
go.
that question correctly.
Question number 2. Oh, okay. How do you pronounce this? In
In what sport is the Iroquois?
Iroquois Cup
What?
awarded.
Oh God, this is a 2.
I believe lacrosse.
You are spot on,
I
my
even
man.
think lacrosse is was a Native American. Like they started playing it.
How do you say
Riley,
it again?
just-
Iroquois?
Riley,
Iroquois.
just take the championship with that. I mean, come on, you got lacrosse. Well done. Well done.
That's a well-known thing.
Here we
It's
go.
not a well-known thing.
Question number 3. What model holds the record for most SI swimsuit edition covers with 5?
Ah, man, I have this memorized. I don't
I think
know.
her first name is Irina. Irina Shayek, I think her name is.
Irina Shayk.
Uh-oh, Skraby got to go in the archives here. No, he says that's incorrect.
I really don't know, but I'm going to go for one from my heyday, Elle McPherson.
Oh my god!
Is she in?
Sorry, Riley.
Sorry, Riley.
Oh, we gotta go tiebreaker.
We do now.
Okay.
Al McPherson was
Who's our
definitely
player?
heyday.
Our player will be Kevin McReynolds.
Okay. Kevin McReynolds.
Oh, I thought that was our contestant. I'm like, really?
Kevin McReynolds is on
Could
the
have
line.
Kevin on the show from the old Arkansas Razorback.
Oh, well, that means that Chris definitely knows what's up with Kevin McReynolds.
Well, he was a center fielder on the '84 World Series team.
All right.
No, pretty well. Lined up next to Tony's father out there in the outfield.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm sorry.
And he played for the Mets too.
Let's go to Andrew.
Andrew, welcome to the show. Are you aware of how the tiebreaker works?
Of course. And
course.
I'm so glad you changed my name in the system to be Andrew instead of Andre.
Yeah, that's right.
It worked.
It did work. I'm glad to hear that we had it work for you. Instead of, hey, Andre, coming on the show.
We did that like 3 or 4 times.
We
before
did.
We got it fixed.
We did. All right, Chris.
I
what?
was like, yeah, Andrew was here.
Chris, what was Kevin McReynolds' career batting average?
It doesn't really matter how many years he played. He had 250.
250.
Wasn't a great hitter, but good enough. More of a power guy. I say 250.
Andrew, is his career average higher or lower than 250?
No offense to Kevin McReynolds, but lower.
Lower. Sorry, Andrew.
Kevin McReynolds took offense.
These 80 players, man, you had to hit back then.
That's true. They didn't let you have a bad
couldn't
average.
pay.
265.
265.
All right.
Let's go. We got some new players. Let's go with our guy, John in Temecula.
John in Temecula.
Give John a shot here.
Hey, happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday, John.
All right, John. Chris. How many home runs did he hit in his career?
I'm going to need to know how many years he played for that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12.
12. Wow. He had about 20 something for the Padres, but I don't know that he did 20 every year 12 times. I'm going to say 175 home runs.
175. John, is the actual answer higher or lower than 175?
Boy, it's right around there. I'm going to go lower.
You're going to go lower. Wait, what did you say, Chris? 175?
175.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
How many did he hit?
211.
211 for Kevin Mack.
He
He
had
almost hit about 20 per year then.
He
Not
had
bad.
29 home runs and 87. That was his highest.
Yeah.
All right.
As a Met?
Yes, as a Met. All right. Was it easy to hit in the old Shea Stadium?
I liked it.
Easier than the old Qualcomm Stadium when he played there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
whatever. I think it was just
a
a
graveyard.
Murph,
Yeah.
Let's go to Glenn in Coronado. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Of course.
Hi, Glenn.
All right, Glenn. I'm going to ask Chris this question, and then you have a chance to win this prize. Chris, how many at-bats did he have in his career?
Oh, goodness.
Trying to make this harder.
Yes, you are. Well, I mean, but okay. 12 years times 300 at bats would be
3,600.
4,000.
4,000. All right, Glenn, is the actual answer higher or lower than 4,000?
I'm going to say it's higher.
It's got to be.
You are correct.
All right.
Nice job, Glenn.
We got a winner.
There. Stay right there, Glenn.
Yeah.
It was 5,423 at
Yeah.
bats.
I figured 4,000 was a little low, but we needed a winner. Otherwise, we're going to
We'd
bleed
have
into
been
the
there all
Skraby
day.
Chronicles. So
Let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. There's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The
Recovered by Gabby Marshall. Here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is! The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
Caitlin Clark with the logo 3 for the record. She's impressive. She's very,
you know
very
what?
impressive.
And the funny thing is she sets this all-time incredible record, and she hits this 40-foot shot. And all Skraby's concerned with is the fact that she wasn't actually standing on the logo. She was only next to the logo.
You know, the saying goes, a hater's going to hate.
No, this is nothing to do about hate. This all comes from our Rate the Radio Call segment that we've done over the years.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Because if we were doing Rate the Radio Call and someone said, and she takes the shot from the logo, but it wasn't from the logo, I feel like that person would get a bad score because they weren't describing the play accurately. When you say a shot from the logo, I'm assuming she's standing on some part of the logo. She is not. She's not even close to the logo. And so they still call it a logo shot. I don't really understand because she's not actually on the logo.
It was a logo area shot, and it depends on how big the logo is. Now,
their
the
logo
Iowa,
is huge.
It is huge.
The Iowa logo?
Yes,
it's
look.
pretty big, but it's not as big as, say, I mean, there's
Look
a lot
at this thing. It goes almost from 3-point line to 3-point line.
It doesn't, because
Such an
otherwise it would just be a long
exaggeration.
3-pointer. Yeah, there's some logos that are a lot bigger than I don't.
Skraby, what's your beef here?
I'm just not thinking about that. What I'm thinking about is, her incredible record-breaking shot.
I don't have beef with it, but I feel like the description of a logo shot is wrong in this because Steph Curry, when he hits a logo shot, he's standing on the logo.
I'm just saying,
It's a
I don't think
descriptor
it
of
was.
where they take the shot on the court.
I don't think it was that far off.
Does Steph Curry actually hit logo threes?
He does.
From center court?
Yeah.
Well, all right. I mean, is his shot longer than hers was last? I mean, her shot last night was about as far as I've seen.
I
one.
mean,
Steph makes those.
Pretty.
Well, of course he
pretty
does.
consistently
In the
pulls
NBA,
up.
does he pull up from there?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
He's got him and Dame Lillard. She's in that category though, so I'm not. It's not to say that she's not shooting that.
Okay.
Just saying.
She's close.
Well, okay, so
she's
Skraby,
closer to the sideline than the logo.
Can I say something? Can
She's
I say
as
something?
far from the basket though as the
Can
logo.
I say something? If the logo extended, like if you drew a line straight across from foul line on side foul line to side foul line,
right?
She'd be as far back as where that logo is.
Yeah, but she's not on it.
There's
come on. Next time you're going to break an all-time
You're
record.
splitting hairs here, buddy.
Caitlin, can you call timeout? Ask the defender to move out of the way so that you can walk over 3 steps so that your foot is touching the logo to appease Skraby.
Matt on the chat says she was a few steps south of the giant logo.
I don't know if south is the right word. I think she was a few steps east or
I think
west
they're thinking
of the
south
logo.
from the basket.
Okay, maybe so.
You guys can't tell me she's standing on the logo because she's not.
I'm just saying.
Why are we talking about this? Why are we not
Because
talking
Scrape
about
brought it
her
up.
remarkable, achievement?
Right,
Scraby,
that's
why
what
does
we
that
should do.
not
We already
enter
talked
into-
about her
We
remarkable
have
achievement.
not
But I
really.
feel like we're splitting hairs here, man. You want her to be standing on the official logo.
You guys,
if we're
you
gonna
guys
be
are mistaking this with my anger
I'm
is at
not.
Caitlin Clark.
I'm not saying that you have any anger towards CC. That's what I'm calling.
You
her.
have had,
CC?
he has had anger with her in the past.
Me?
When she flopped after being run over by
Wait, I don't
Ohio
think
State
I
fan
think
or
I
whatever it
defended
was.
her actually, but she did
She
flop.
did kind of flop a little bit.
She did flop.
you were on her case that time.
What I saw later was Angel Reese actually said congrats to Caitlin Clark. So
Of course
that's
she
good stuff.
did.
No, it's good stuff. I'm saying those two can really, really put some eyes on women's basketball, and they're already doing it.
There are a lot of really, really good female basketball players that are just good basketball
They're
players.
not the only ones.
Juju
Those two-
Watkins at USC
Yeah.
is
Juju.
going to be phenomenal. There's a lot of really good, talented
I told
young
them. I
ladies
told
out
you
there
that
doing
they
it.
should. The NCAA tournament should rig it so that Iowa and USC are in the
Listen,
same.
if there was a time to rig
To rig
something
one-
and bet for a benefit of your
Right.
sport,
Yes, it's going to help your
Just-
sport. I mean, don't put them in the first round. They're deserving of being better than that. but
Right.
try to line them up so that at the second, third round, you get lucky. Those two play each other. I mean, it's going to be a bonanza.
It's virtually what you got last year in the NCAA tournament. As Iowa and LSU ended up meeting,
right?
It was kind of like they were taking out good teams on the way.
Yeah. Iowa had to beat South Carolina in like triple overtime in the semifinal. It was great theater last year. And I think the women's game was as widely viewed as any final has ever been watched.
You can
So
see
that's
that.
great.
You can see that in the money that's being put behind a lot of women's sports at this point, whether it's soccer or the WNBA or both.
It's high time they start paying those college women's basketball announcers, what they're worth.
I agree.
Scrib, you want to get back on track here?
Yeah.
All right, let's do so. Big Five on the other side. I mean, are you going to take this up again with Caitlin Clark when we get to the Big Five?
Actually, Shaq said something about her. I want to ask you guys.
Shaq
Diesel said something on Inside the NBA. I think that's what it's called. And I want to get your guys' opinion on it.
All right. Stay tuned for Big Five.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
NBA All-Star Weekend is underway, and I would advise you at least flip it on the television just so you can get your first gander at this new floor. It's quite the
It's pretty sweet.
quite the impressive. I was going to say piece of hardware, but it's not hardwood. But it's not hardwood, right? It's glass. It sure looks like hardwood.
It looks like hardwood.
It's incredible what they can do with this new. What are they? Is it an LED floor?
I think so. Something like that.
Is that the best way to describe what it actually is?
It looks like, I thought there would be some weird kind of feel to it because it's a screen. It's not like a floor, but no one seems to be feeling like it's weird. Except for whoever has the ball takes this game very seriously.
I told you, my man, he's like a YouTuber, I think. And they showed some clips of him actually like practicing. He was serious about it.
He's very serious. He's going through his legs. He's driving the lane. No one wants to take him on because
he's on pace for an MVP right now.
He's the guy in the pickup game. You're like, bro, we're not in the NBA.
All right, Tony and Skraby doing some color commentary on the celebrity game that is underway right now at the NBA All-Star Week. What color is the ball?
It's blue.
Why?
You'd have to ask the NBA about that one.
That I can do without, but the floor is pretty awesome. Gotta say, it's worth tuning in to take at least a look at. Skraby's got a big five heading in our direction. A little bit later in the program, we'll have our interview of the week. Joe Musgrove will probably qualify for that honor. He was on with us yesterday. If you missed it, you'll hear it a little later in the program. And I keep looking around for some news item to pop up in the world of sports.
It's not happening, man.
Just not happening. So without any further ado, let's check you some traffic and get Skraby on the line.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive the Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive the oil change. A little busier on our roads. Crash on westbound 8 right before Severn. Everything is now over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on southbound 5, an accident before Claremont Drive. It's over the right shoulder. Then in National City, getting reports of a crash south 5 just before 8th Street. No details as to whether that is blocking lanes. Traveling on northbound 15 near Miramar Road, a collision blocking the fast lane. And now getting reports of a crash on westbound 78 before El Camino Real. That's in the center divide. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is your drive-through oil change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. With all the rain lately, Valvoline is also offering replacement wiper blades. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Sorry, Skraby. I know you want to get into the big five.
Yes, please don't do this to me.
I'm just doing a quick one. This is really, I
it's
think
not going to be quick. I can already
it's
feel
important. It's important because I just saw the story come down. It is. It has to do with the former high school basketball star in our county, Torrey Pines High. Scott Pollard, might have heard he was awaiting a heart transplant.
I did.
And he was in danger of not being able to find one.
Because of his size.
After all, he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
A donor has been found.
Yeah.
That is amazingly good news.
He was he's basically going to have to be in the hospital until they found one. That's the kind of shape he's in. So
right.
He got a miracle.
He did. And I think that's just fantastic news. I know a lot of people around these parts knew Scott Pollard, know Scott Pollard, and we'll be happy to hear that. All right, my friend, go ahead.
If you were listening,
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to be mad about that.
I know. I was about.
No, he's about to rip me for that, and I'm like,
if
no,
you were
you're not
listening
going
to
to
Tony
rip
and
me
I
for
talk
that.
during the break, you would know that we already talked about this in the break, and it's not a new news story.
I'm glad you did, but the listeners didn't know.
hear it though.
I agree, but it's a very strange time.
All right, you're making it even longer now.
I had a question. Would it be better if they said, instead of from the logo, said from downtown? Yes, because it describes that it was behind the 3-point line.
Number 5.
Skraby and his grease.
All right. I got a question from a friend after we found out that Hassan Kim is going to play short and Xander Bogaerts is going to play second. The question is, now that they have done this, Chris, would switching them back cause problems?
Cause problems? No.
Okay. Why not?
Well, I mean, because Hassan Kim is too good of a guy to create a problem over that.
I can't see Hassan like pouting or like being mad.
How are they going to switch back? I mean, is Hassan Kim just going to forget what he's doing at shortstop all of a sudden?
No, like say, I don't
mean,
know.
I have a hard time believing he's going to regress defensively, but that's the only way I could see it.
What if Xander Bogaerts isn't playing well at second and he feels more comfortable at short? And
I don't know. I don't know that your case gets stronger. I don't know. Well, we don't even need to entertain it. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. If they have to change, if they have to flip flop back,
they're not flip flopping.
I don't think they're flip flopping back.
You think it's over?
I think it's a done
It's
deal.
been decided.
Yes.
All right.
Number 4.
Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones vowed to return for a shot at a third straight Super Bowl title earlier this week, but an actual deal isn't likely to come together overnight. One of the reasons why is because the Chiefs are not going to be able to sign as many people as they want as quickly as they want. They are trying to also hold on to cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. General Manager Brett Veach called re-signing both players a top priority of the offseason, but Sneed sounds unsure that everything's going to work out. While on Up and Adams this week, Sneed said he hopes to be back with Kansas City, while adding that, quote, "You never know how it goes once negotiations start." Tony, who would you give the money to if you were the Chiefs?
Out of Chris Jones or Sneed?
Yep.
I'll probably say Jones. You can get an okay defensive back if you're getting pressure on the quarterback. It's less time they got to cover. So I'm going to say getting a guy like Jones is a little bit more difficult.
Chris?
I'll go with Sneed.
All right. Why?
Because I think he's a game changer. I think Chris Jones is one too, but I just wanted to give a differing opinion. I don't know. You'd be the tiebreaker. Who would you give it to?
I think it's harder to find a corner than it is to find a guy who can plug the middle.
Just flat out
Boo.
disagreeing with you right in your
Boo.
mug.
Yeah.
Right in your mug. Just saying,
Right
no,
in your
Tony
mug,
Gwynn Jr.,
he
you're
says.
wrong.
That's fine. You can disagree with me, Scrape.
Did I say this on the air or off the air? But Chris Jones was agent tweeted out when Chris
I think
Jones
you said it off the air.
Okay, so Chris Jones was saying that he wants to come back to the team and it's going to happen. And his agent tweeted out, "Someone tell the bartender to cut him off because he's giving away millions by saying he's coming back to the team."
Right.
Number 3.
All right, Caitlin Clark, as we just talked about, made major headlines last night by breaking the women's basketball collegiate scoring record with a 3 from nearly midcourt or downtown, whatever you would like to say. Shaq talked about it and said this on Inside the NBA on TNT last night.
But she's incredible. Congratulations to her and her family. Yeah. Like the crazy thing is, I'm just seeing her last year when they played LSU, but she's phenomenal. I'm gonna go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever.
Ever? Well, I don't know about you. Have you
ever.
heard of Cheryl Miller,
Ever.
Maya Moore?
I said what I said. Ever.
Diana Taurasi?
I said what I said.
No disrespect.
Listen,
Kayla Clark is amazing.
This is my opinion.
Candace
I'm not
Parker.
changing.
Listen,
I said what I said.
Nobody's ever shot it like her. No, she's like
I
Steph
said what I
Curry.
said.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Listen,
All right, there you go.
Just started a whole
It
thing.
did. It did really start a whole thing. But my
Ernie
question,
Johnson's in there spreading them apart.
yeah, he was. Chris, is Caitlin Clark the best women's college basketball player ever?
Well, in Shaq's, if I was in Shaq's presence, I would say yes, because I'm going to agree with Shaq all the time. But no, I don't think she is yet. I think, and you heard the names of the players that I think would still rate ahead of her.
Okay.
Maya Moore was
Yeah.
amazing.
Cheryl
But Candace
Miller
Parker, Cheryl Miller, Diana
Taurasi.
Taurasi, all-time leading scorer in the WNBA. I mean, Caitlin Clark, for as great as she is, still has to prove that she can play in the WNBA.
It's true.
I can't imagine that she won't be able to succeed there, but, we got to make sure. So, yeah, I think there's others that are still ahead of her.
What do you think, Tony? Who do you think Caitlin Clark is the best college basketball player ever, women's basketball player?
Oh, I never got to see Cheryl Miller play. I I did get to see Maya Moore play. She was tough.
Oh man.
I mean, she
cut her career short just to go out and help people.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Caitlin Clark is the best college basketball player of this generation.
She might be the best shooter.
Yeah,
she might be
she's
the
best.
Steph Curry
She's
of
the
women's
best shooter
basketball.
of ever. But Maya Moore's game was so complete. I mean, inside, outside, post up,
smooth.
She was like the Kobe Bryant of women's basketball. So I think, to answer your question, Caitlin Clark is not the greatest college player of all time. Took me a while to get there, but I got there.
It's all right.
Number 2.
Major League Soccer has reduced the number of commentators and analysts calling games on MLS Season Pass in 2024. The Season Pass budget cuts are part of a business effort to reduce costs after spending on production costs exceeded expectations last year, sources told World Soccer Talk. In total, 18 people have been cut from MLS talent department on Apple TV. Of those who are coming back in 2024, sources revealed that some are taking pay cuts of up to 33%. So, Tony, does this show you anything about the interest in the MLS?
Not necessarily. I think sometimes, especially when, MLS signed that big deal with Apple, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times what happens is you overspin, but you stretch yourself out too long. And now you kind of trimming up the fat so that you're not spending as much money. You're kind of trying to stay out of the red, if you will.
But pay cuts for the original or the people coming back?
Maybe they overlaunched themselves to begin with.
All right.
And you're trying to find some middle ground. I don't think it's necessarily an indictment on MLS. They just signed the deal last year. So
Yeah.
I think this might just be a recalibration. Hopefully it's just a recalibration.
Chris, does this show you anything about the interest in the sport?
It does not. What it shows me, though, is that the CEOs and the CFOs and the C blankety blankos made a mistake and, spent, too much money on the television broadcast. And guess what? Instead of cutting all these people and ruining their lives, the people who made the wrong decision in the first place should take pay cuts.
They should
and I
tighten their
know
belt.
you agree with me on that, Skraby, because you hate CEOs.
Where do I sign up to run through a wall? I'm ready to go now.
I knew I'd hit him in the sweet spot there.
He was
I'm
like
gonna-
a preacher on the pulpit
That's right.
there.
I'm going to go find a CEO and just yell at him or her.
I mean, Chris
Come on, take a little pay cut and let these people, do their thing for you.
Chris brings up a good point. The CEOs and who, I mean, this is not just soccer. They did it in baseball too. That's why Bally is in the position they're in.
Right.
Clearly not reading whatever it is in front of them well enough. And it's costing people.
Tony, they can't live without their gold-plated toilet paper, okay?
No, it's
They can't
ridiculous.
live
It
without
really is.
it.
For
Is that what it is?
For most of us in the world, we'd all agree that CEOs make too much and they cut too many regular people from jobs without taking pay cuts on their own.
I will say the Zoom CEO a few years ago,
what do you do?
Forewent. He forewent his salary for the year so that he could put it back into the company.
Very good. See,
So-
there's one guy.
That shows good business.
Shows leadership.
I like it.
In the chat, Lisa Leslie, is that a
Oh,
college
Lisa
basketball
would
player?
have to be in the conversation.
She's definitely
Very
in the
good.
conversation.
Very
Wow, Cesar is greetings from Guatemala. Hello,
Cesar.
Wow.
Look at the floor now, guys. It's crazy. Red, blue,
22 again, another bucket.
blinking.
I know I'm all over the place, but when was the last time you guys ate Ruffles?
Who's eating Ruffles?
Well, it's sponsored by Ruffles.
Well, that's why they're trying to get people to eat Ruffles again.
I mean, but when was the last time you guys ate Ruffles?
It's been a while.
I may go get some this weekend after seeing this
Some-
ad on
get some of those
okay.
sour
So
cream and
we're
cheddar.
members.
Oh, those, yeah. I may go get some of those now.
Sour cream and cheddar,
You have to
baby.
wait for the weekend.
Ooh, those are pretty
Those are
good.
the ones.
What are the orange ones? Just
Sour cream
that's
and
the one.
sour cream and
That's the
cheddar.
one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Number 1.
Stop talking before I sound even more stupid. We now know why someone jumped on the field during the Super Bowl. This dude is a millionaire, and he wanted to bet on a streaker on the field, so he bought a ticket to the game to try and win the bet. When he went to go make the bet, he played himself because the bet was no longer being offered, but he already had tickets to the game. So here's what this guy said about this whole situation on Monday. Quote, being rich is living life on your own terms, according to your possibilities, not your limitations. So why not do something no one has the courage to do? I spent $42,000 to live an experience not only that I'll never forget, but share with the world how set and forget has changed my life. End quote. Chris, how would you rate his life advice here? You going to follow it? You going to set and forget?
I would just say that you obviously don't need intelligence to be rich.
Wait, time out. He bet on a streak.
He
He
wanted
wanted to bet,
but
that
he
there
couldn't
would be a
find the bet.
streaker, but he couldn't find a place to make the bet, so
So
he
he-
went ahead and streaked anyway.
He went and bought front row seats so he had an easy access to the field for $42,000, and then he just did it anyway.
And then got thrown in jail.
He said,
anyway.
"Being rich is living life on your own
No,
terms."
this guy's an idiot.
That's a fact, dude. I think you summed it up right there.
That's what I was trying to
This
get.
guy
at over
is
here.
just gonna buy a ticket at the front row and then run on the field, go to jail for it.
Brilliant.
Make it make sense.
Brilliant.
I no. Apparently, I mean,
I get that you're rich, but do any
Here's
of
how
those
he became
things?
rich. So he was unhappy with his life. He was working at a restaurant or something, being like a busboy, and then he started investing like $100 or $200 at a time into the stock market. Ended up hitting it big and became a millionaire. So money is no object for him, but he is very happy with himself for this.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know I want to be known as the guy who jumped on the field during the Super
It's not
Bowl.
the guy, the idiot.
I don't think
The idiot.
anything. I don't even think he's known. I mean, they didn't show it.
No,
they
didn't.
mentioned it for a half second. They said somebody's on
and
the
that
field.
was only because Tony Romo was on the broadcast because
Right.
he wanted to talk about
Tony
it more.
Romo wanted a close up of the guy, but they moved right on. We don't even. This doesn't even register anymore.
It
Idiots
doesn't,
running on the
because
field.
they no longer show it anymore.
Yeah, it's just a waste
A
of this guy's
question.
time.
A question from the chat: was this guy actually a real streaker? And the answer is no.
No, because he had all his clothes on.
He had his
that's
shirt
not a
off, I think.
I said, well,
Wait, he had
fine.
no pants?
No,
he had-
Skraby, do you have more information
No, he
than
had
you
pants
should
on.
about this?
Yeah, he had pants.
He had
For
pants
sure.
on.
He just had no shirt on.
Also, ruffles are required for onion dip. That is true. I don't
I
know
haven't
the
had
last time I
onion dip
had
in a long time now.
Me
Onion dip
neither.
is kind of low on the list at this point.
onion dip is low on the list. Why? Onion dip is great.
I haven't had it in a long time. It's not that I don't like it. It's been a while.
Hmm.
It's been replaced by like guacamole or bean dip.
It's being replaced. Is this
It's
something
been
I don't know
replaced.
about?
I would definitely like a ruffle right now.
Sour
we
cream
go
and
Who can
cheddar,
have
baby.
just one ruffle though?
Once you
No
pop,
one.
no, that's
That's
Pringles.
Lay's.
That's Pringles.
No, that's
Once you
Lay's.
pop, you don't stop.
Pringles.
No,
you're right.
but Lay's is the one that said you can't have just one. I'm pretty sure.
I think we need to go look in the.
I think we need to go to break.
I think. Well, we're about to go to break. I'm just trying to kill time here until we get to the end. I think we need to go to the vending machine and see if they have ruffles for
Bet you
Christmas.
can't
They
eat
don't.
just one was the slogan of, come on, please.
Bugles.
Lay's potato chips.
Bugles.
I was correct.
Do you guys remember Bugles?
Yes.
They were weird.
Do you remember Where's the Beef?
Yeah.
I
Where's
was
the
just
beef? Yeah.
coming up with crazy
Yeah. Got milk.
Hall of Fame slogans.
Oh, was that milk?
Yeah. Where's the beef was like for the beef industry.
No, it's for Wendy's.
Oh, then
That's
I'm wrong. Then
right.
I'm wrong.
Where's the
Then I'm
beef?
It
wrong.
was for Wendy's. She
I'm
looked
wrong.
at she looked at the sandwich and then she opened it up and she said, "Where's the beef?" And then they
Wendy did
said, "Go to
this?
Wendy's, man. You get yourself a big fat burger."
That's right.
Wendy was mad. Man, never seen.
It
this
wasn't
commercial.
Wendy. It was some old lady.
She
It was
wanted the
hilarious.
All right. When we get back, we'll talk about Xander Bogaerts moving to second base, Ha-Seong Kim going to shortstop, and we'll get into some more crazy talking, I think.
It's the happy hour on Friday.
The final happy hour of the week next.
Welcome back into Gwynn and Chris, 5:01 on the clock. It is the happy hour. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Cello, Matt Skraby, talking some Padre baseball. I guess really the first bit of big news to come out of camp. Xander Bogaerts will move off of the shortstop position over to the second base position. Ha-Seong Kim will move off the second base position over to the shortstop position. And that's all assuming Manny Machado starts the year healthy and as the third baseman.
I saw somebody, I think it was actually on MLB Network, Tony. They projected the Padres opening day, lineup, and they actually had Matthew Batten playing third base and Machado DHing. We haven't heard a lot about that. I mean, Batten finished up at third base when Manny was hurt last year.
Did a nice job with his
Didn't
little
do
bit
so
time.
bad. Maybe he will get the. To me, Korea is going to be a different deal than opening day because Korea is 2 weeks or 3 weeks before opening day.
Yeah,
is Manny going to be ready?
Here's the thing. I guess that makes more sense because if Manny does start as the DH and Kim does move over, you have answers at third, short, and second. You know where you don't have an answer is first base. Whereas I think Batten at third base is a better fit than Batten at first? Because I see him much better as a third baseman than I see a first baseman.
Yeah, I think so.
And so maybe that is accurate in what we saw. But the news of the day, Xander Bogaerts has decided to be the team player on here. He's going to move to second base. Kim's going to get to start at shortstop.
He decided to be, but I think as you'll hear in the clip, Daddy, he's a gamer, and he didn't want to give up his spot easily, but he was willing to give it up.
This was it seemed to be a tough pill to swallow.
What are your feelings on your switch?
I signed here as a shortstop, but to me, I just live and die baseball, and I felt like we had this conversation early in the morning, and I was like, listen, man, if this is the way that you guys feel the team is better, I respect him, especially defensively. I actually admire him a lot. So maybe it can hurt, but I'm just doing it in the best interest of the team. And in the end, I feel like I'm at peace with moving off, because I felt like if I literally didn't really want to, I would have just let them know, and that would have been I wouldn't say a problem, but it might have been a tough situation. But I think I'm really at peace of gonna have to move off, So I think that deep down in my heart, like I was actually cool with it. I didn't expect maybe to be cool with it, but what more can I accomplish in this game? I came here. The only reason I came here was to win a World Series. So if this is the way that we're gonna get one, so be it. I want a World. I was just thinking, I want one at third base. I want one at shortstop, and it would be very nice to win one at second base. So I'm looking at the positive, and actually, if we're gonna have this conversation in like 2 years, hey, let's move you from the position again, or whatnot. Like, let's just get out of the way now. If this is a really good time for that our team is going to be much better this way, let's just do it.
Yeah, as you saw, it wasn't like an easy turnkey situation here. Certainly, you could hear his. What would you describe it? Hesitation. Yeah. Okay.
You could hear a little bit of unhappiness in there, but we said earlier, he definitely chose his words, carefully, but that's fine. I don't want my starting shortstop to just say, "Hey, here you go, take my position." To be honest with you,
no.
So I'm okay with that, and let's just let it play out. He's a pro. He'll play second base. He's got the spring to figure it out. I'll tell you one thing that I don't want to hear from the Padres is like in mid-May saying, Xander is going to take him a little time to get up to speed at second base. My point is it's your decision to move him there.
Right.
So let's just live with whatever he does there. It's kind of I say this all the time, and you can probably correct me, but whenever they say a guy makes a rookie base running mistake, they're a rookie and they make a base running mistake. I'm like, yes, but the guy's been playing baseball since he's been 9 years old.
Yeah.
To me, it shouldn't be. You shouldn't get the benefit of the doubt because you're a rookie. So Xander Bogaerts, to me, is going to have to go out and really play a good second base, because I don't want to hear that he's not getting the job done. This was your decision. And prior to moving him, both guys were getting the job done. But the thinking analytics is that Ha-Seong Kim is going to cover more ground at shortstop. So you may have to live with a couple of mistakes from Xander Bogaerts at second base.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect there's going to be some growing pains there, right? Like it's not just going to.
It's not going to be a perfectly smooth transition.
Right,
I mean, it's a different position. Although maybe he'll do what Fernando did. Fernando went to right field, won the Gold Glove. Maybe Xander will go get the Gold Glove.
It's certainly within the realm. I mean, it'll be an interesting situation, like you said. We'll see how it goes. I think Xander, as I said, he's a pro, so he's going to handle it. Mike Schilt was asked about.
I was coming up with a new clip. Because you guys said
all I could see was out of the corner of my eye is hands flailing everywhere.
Uh-oh, he's giving you signals again.
If
Skraby, you'd be the worst third base coach in history. Because if a guy came around second base and saw your signals, they'd just break his own ankle, trying to determine what you're asking them to do.
What do you want to say, Skraby?
Are you done yet? You guys were talking about him winning a Gold Glove at second. Well, he said he would do something if he did win a Gold Glove at second.
Seem to have moved positions in the last couple of years that had a lot of success at their new positions. He's right, Rockmore, Kim. Does that give you confidence in moving to a new spot?
I feel like they might be playing a tricky situation with me, because if I win a Gold Glove at second, I might retire. So I might.
There you go. He was joking. But
yeah,
there you go.
By the way, we had some people in the chat earlier who were saying, that now with the money that Xander Bogaerts is making, he's too expensive to play at second base. I would answer that, and did when talking with these guys. But Mookie Betts has also been moved to second base. He's making a lot more money than Xander. Wait a minute, Skraby's waving again. Did you not like what I just said?
People that.
Well, they can see it on the YouTube stream.
Yes, they can see that, but the YouTube stream is getting a behind the scenes look at what we're doing. But I still want to be like a respected producer.
Yeah, no, Mookie Betts is by far the highest paid second baseman in all of baseball.
Okay,
was it he's getting about 35 a year?
He's about as high a paid players there in the game, isn't he?
Mike Schilt was asked how this change came about.
Wait a minute. How did you determine that's what he wanted you to do by his hand signals?
Well, I think I got his hand signals down pat at this point.
Look at him.
Maybe not.
He's getting mad.
I'm not getting mad at all. Okay.
You're like George Costanza.
All
Skraby's getting angry.
Here it is. Wait, that's not it.
Guess I didn't have his hand signals down.
Here it is.
I had a starting point of the conversation with him to take his temperature in Aruba. Pretty good place, by the way, to have a conversation of any kind. And so we started the process there, and then AJ, clearly you can ask him as well. But it was an ongoing conversation, and we finalized it recently.
You're going to get from Kim at shortstop because he's played there before, but what are your expectations given Xander's skill set for what he can do at second base?
Well, the good news is you want as many shortstops as you can have on a baseball field in as many positions as you can have. So to the examples I mentioned earlier, we got Toddy, that's a shortstop that goes to right, great. Kimmy's shortstop goes to second, fantastic. Crony has played shortstop and goes to second and first, and it's been really good. So, if you can have as many shortstops, and the experience of that is from understand how to play the middle to go to second is really important. So, I expect it to be some transition, some learning curve, clearly. I think we'd all be naive to think that won't be the case. But also, with Bogey, that we'll make sure of, and he'll do in any way, is he's still a captain of our infield. He's still a guy that's going to run point guard, from the second base position about how we're operating, how we're competing, how we're aware of game situation on the field.
Mike, was there any thought moving Jake to second and Bogey to first? What was part of the calculus there?
I mean, listen, again, we've got a different different ways, Palms, to look at this. But, Bogey came in there to be a shortstop. He's a valuable guy in the middle of the field. Crony's already demonstrated he's really good at first base. So I don't think we want to – let's keep Bogey up the middle where he's clearly done very well. And as I alluded to with, talking to AJ and his question, it's a guy that we want to continue to have in the middle for his baseball IQ and his leadership.
This is, to me, where I think Mike Schilt has this is his strong suit, is getting guys to buy in on things that they don't necessarily love in some ways. Xander's, that's just one element of it. I think the other thing that you're going to eventually see is Fernando Tatis Jr. in terms of, one of the leaders that he talked about in terms of this ball club. I think you see Fernando step into a bigger role in that, from that element.
I saw the MLB top 100 rankings. Somebody sent me a piece of that today, and they had the list of number 30 through 20. I don't think they've gotten to number 1 yet. Maybe
No,
I don't think they've revealed that yet. But I saw Manny Machado ranked 24th best major league player. On the surface, I'm okay with that. I saw Fernando ranked 26th. On the surface, I'm not okay with that.
You're not okay with
No. 26th best player in baseball. And don't tell me, it was because of what happened, this, that, the other. This guy's talent, his power, his speed, his ability in offense, combined with the fact that he was the Platinum Glove Award winner last year, tells me, and based on what I think he can do this year, he's a lot higher than 26.
Yeah, but it's not based on what you think it is, based on what he did last year.
That's it?
That's it.
I still think he had a pretty darn good season last year.
I don't know.
I want to get, because I did this last night. I went through some of the names to see if he was better, but one of the names that was on the list was Kyle Tucker. Is Fernando better than Kyle Tucker?
If we're going on, so this is how good Fernando is. Look at Kyle Tucker's year last year. Look at Luis Roberts, who he's one spot ahead of. Look at his year last year.
Luis Roberts.
And then look at Toddy's year.
Luis Robert had a 5 WAR, 264, 38 home runs, 857 OPS.
Tatis is ahead of him in the ranking.
Tatis is ahead of him in the ranking.
I just can't believe there was 25 guys who had a better year than him last year. I guess there was. All right, I'll give MLB Network the benefit of the doubt
for this year,
but I don't like to give them the benefit of the doubt because they still employ Brian Kenny.
Oh my gosh, I'm with that. I stamp that approval.
Yes, thank you.
I really want to get these names before we go to break, just so I can talk to you guys about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you looking
Still
up
going.
the top 30?
There we go.
We found him.
Blake Snell's number 30. So we have Fernando at 26.
So that's a Cy Young.
Yes. We have Corbin Burns 29. We have 28 is
Runner
Zach
up.
Wheeler.
So how did Corbin Burns finish ahead of Blake Snell?
I don't know. That's a good point.
I mean, what happened there?
I guess the walks got him down to 30.
I mean, was Blake Snell not voted the better pitcher than Corbin Burns by a landslide vote?
Yes. Zach Wheeler, 28. Luis Robert Jr., 27. 26 is Twatty. 25 is Francisco Lindor. You could flip Fernando and Francisco Lindor.
You can put Fernando way ahead of him. But anyway, that's all right.
I agree. Tony, you have any thoughts about Lindor?
He's very, very, very good player.
Manny Machado, number 24, Kyle Tucker, 23, Altuve, 22, and Marcus Semien, 21.
I mean, listen, you could pick apart this list. I mean, Manny at 24, he didn't have his best season. He's still ahead of Fernando. Yeah. He's ahead of the Cy Young Award.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that they're only exclusively going on what they did last year.
They may not be.
Because if they're exclusively going what they did last year, Blake Snell has to be ahead of Corbin Burns and Dan Wheeler, guys he beat Zach Wheeler, guys that he beat out for the Cy Young. So
it's fair.
You know, I'm going to have to put Fernando's got to be top 10, top 15. I think that's maybe sounds like a homer call to some people.
If we're being fair, I don't know if you can say Fernando was a top 10 player last year.
I didn't say last year. I'm saying he is a top 10 player.
I don't
disagree. Now.
I don't disagree with that.
And I thought their list was top 100 right now, but I don't know. Brian Kenny's capable of screwing that up in any number of ways.
Let's get to break for Brian Kenny catches more strays before the show.
He's gonna put a cease and desist on our show at some point. I swear.
I would love for him to get to hear some of this stuff.
That would be great for our show, actually, if he put a cease and desist.
I know who would co-sign on that. Joe Musgrove.
Indeed. Let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, it's Skraby here with you for SD Fat Loss, and I've been telling you over the last couple months about my body transformation, and I would like to thank SD Fat Loss for that because I've lost 40 pounds now, and I'm in the maintenance phase, which means that I can still eat like I was on the program, but I could also, cheat a little bit. So I am doing that now, cheating just a little bit, but SD Fat Loss taught me how to eat and what to eat and when to eat and all of that stuff and how much to eat. That was a big problem for me, was the portion sizes, but SD Fat Loss helped me to realize that my portion sizes were far too big. I tried all the other diets, didn't like them. They didn't work for me. And I am reaping the rewards right now because I feel the best I've felt in a very long time. I wake up with energy and I'm able to fit into the clothes I used to be too big for. So if you're sick of stubborn weight loss that's not working, then you need to call SD Fat Loss. Schedule your free consultation today by calling 858-665-3211 or sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com.
Now the NBA floor is on fire. I mean, this is incredible what they're doing with this floor. You gotta tune this in, the NBA Celebrity All-Star Game with the LED floor.
I thought he would hate
It looks pretty sweet, man.
It really looks amazing. It looks it's what I imagine
was glass. That's what I saw. That's what I was thinking.
It's what I imagine watching a basketball game on Nickelodeon would look like. All kinds of flashing lights and crazy colors. That's fun. I don't know that I need it for a regular season NBA game, but it's perfect for the Celebrity All-Star Classic.
Yeah, I don't know if I want it for an NBA regular season game.
I still kind of want to make the game the most important thing.
I agree.
Right now, the floor is the most important thing. Speaking of floor, tonight at Viejas Arena, San Diego State and New Mexico will be on that floor. The player you want to boo wears number 10 for New Mexico, and he wants you to boo him. Jalen House, according to the Albuquerque Journal, the most hated player in the history of college basketball. He burned the Aztecs in the first meeting, though. 26 points, single-handedly turned the game around and let the Aztecs know about it.
I have a feeling he's going to get a little taste of the show.
Yeah, well, the show will be after him.
The show is going to be
tonight.
on him, like.
Yeah,
but
he'll be waiting for it because you said earlier some guys just like this stuff.
No doubt.
And he appears to like it.
It's easy to like it when you're winning and your team and you're playing well.
Yes, let's hope that the Aztecs punish them and therefore quiet him tonight. I saw Jay Billis's rankings, by the way. The Billustrator.
What's Billis? How's Billis treating us?
Billis is treating us okay.
Okay.
Not as well as I had hoped. He has New Mexico 20th. And he has us 27th. So he's got New Mexico a few spots ahead of the Aztecs, actually.
Ain't nothing like a San Diego State beatdown to change that
for us
up.
to change that opinion from Jay a little bit. Aztecs still come in, though, at number 5 in the bracketology. 5
like
seed.
What was our seed last year? 6?
5.
I was 5 last year, too?
They were 5 last year. So 5 would be good. They need to win right tonight because there's still a game back at Utah State. Utah State plays Colorado State in Fort Collins tomorrow. I would think Utah State loses that game. That would give the Aztecs a tie for first place. And then next Tuesday, they play at Utah State. It's still going to be really hard to win the regular season title. You almost can't lose another game if you're the Aztecs in that regard.
This tournament, this Mountain West Conference tournament this year is going to be bananas.
Real. The top 7 teams, any of them could win it. And that goes all the way down to UNLV.
Yeah.
Which means if you're the number 2 seed, you're going to draw the number 7 in your first game. And that is going to be somebody like UNLV or maybe even Nevada.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the very tough draw in the very first game.
It almost makes winning the conference outright very important.
You'd almost like to be number 1 so you get the 8-9.
Yeah. For sure.
Which it might be a little bit of an easier draw. Aztecs, to me, are still having an incredible season. They're 19-6. I mean, I'm all right with that after what they did last year. And especially if they can finish up strong. We'll find out what happens tonight. What did you have on the Padres? I don't pronounce this guy's name very well, so I'm going to let you do it, Skraby. News for tomorrow?
Hold on. Let me get the text so I'm delivering it correct.
Okay.
It is that Eric Kutsenda is going to speak with the media in Peoria tomorrow. We don't have a time yet, but we are going to have videos. Yes, Tony?
No, go ahead, finish.
Oh, we're going to have videos on our social medias as soon as it happens. So make sure you keep on 97.3 The Fan SD on Twitter, also Instagram and Facebook.
Now, I know none of you guys have seen this yet, but it just came across my phone. Breaking news 6 minutes ago.
Is it good? Is it worthy of a sound?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I'm excited. Joe Mauer is not retiring.
Joe Mauer is not retiring, but someone has been disqualified for the Genesis Invitational for signing an incorrect scorecard.
Oh, my goodness.
Jordan Spieth has been disqualified from the Genesis Invitational for signing an incorrect scorecard.
Wow.
All right, first of all, that's an unforgivable mistake if you're a professional golfer. But second of all, this is the stupidest rule in sports.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
It's not the stupidest rule in
It
sports.
is so.
No, it's not.
It's understandable in the 1920s and 30s when they were keeping score with, pencils and, little rickety pieces of
You
paper.
literally have this tournament on TV.
I mean, it's on television. Everybody knows everybody's score. That's ridiculous.
Here's
you
the
don't
mistake.
think so, Skraby? Come on. Even you got to think that rule is a little outdated.
To be disqualified from the entire tournament, probably, but I do think there should be a penalty for writing down the wrong score. Because
How bad was this?
so the mistake, this is from the article. The mistake came on par 3 4th, where Spieth signed for a par but actually made bogey.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you can't.
But correct me if I'm wrong again, Skraby. Doesn't your playing partner actually keep your scorecard?
I'm
while
not
the
100%
round-
sure, but yes, there is something to that.
Okay,
but you
so
have to write
somebody
your own
else's
score.
So he just signed it. Like, yeah.
So
yeah.
but he looked at the guy who kept his scorecard. He looked at it. He said, "Yeah, this is good." That's doable, I think. I don't think that's out and out cheating.
So why would what is to stop you from consistently trying to sabotage somebody and just say, "Oh, he put out a birdie here"?
I mean, golf is all about
Gentlemen, well,
Yes.
apparently, you make a kind of a little mistake like that, you get
not a little mistake.
disqualified for the whole tourney.
Yeah, that is a little
It's a little
crazy.
strong.
Give him like a 3-shot penalty on your overall score so far, and if it takes you out of the cut, it takes you out of the cut. But yeah, I mean,
Let me see where was he? Well, I'm trying to
Spieth?
find him on the.
He had a
on the
first round
leaderboard.
66.
Yeah, he's not even on the. Not only has he been kicked out of the tournament,
he's on the bottom. He's got to be on the bottom with like DQ next to his name.
There he is. Yeah, Jordan Spieth DQ, despite the fact that his score was 3 under par through 2 holes. Jordan Spieth is listed just underneath Tiger Woods, who has a WD next to his game.
Can I have a hot
Because he
take?
had to withdraw.
What is your hot take, Skraby?
I've been thinking this all week, but I didn't want to say it.
All week, okay. So it's not just today.
No, this is all week.
Here we go.
You had some thought to it then.
Yes.
Look at the court right now. It's on fire around the court. Oh my God, it's incredible.
We don't need to have a long discussion about this, but I think it's time for Tiger to stop playing.
I don't. Keep playing, Tiger.
Feel like he's just a distraction at this point.
A distraction. I bet you the
Distraction.
PGA.
How many people tuned in the last 2 days to watch
I
him?
bet you the
You're right about
PGA
that.
Tour does not
Everybody.
feel
But how
this.
many people are going to stop tuning in when Tiger's on the course because he may not
They're not.
finish?
I don't
Nobody's
think they're
gonna stop
ever going to
tuning in.
stop tuning in.
You know when they stop tuning in? As soon as they find out he's not in the tournament.
I will agree with that. I will definitely agree with that.
He's
but
48 years old, Skraby. Mickelson won the PGA at 50. Tiger is not in the same physical shape as Mickelson was, and that's saying something because Mickelson was never in great shape. But Tiger's got so many injuries, but there is still no question that he's like a whole nother level above popularity of every other golfer.
Not to mention the dude hasn't played golf in like a year. It feels
Yeah,
like, and he was even. Well, it's 2 over today, I think, before
Right.
the illness hitting. But
He was even through 17 yesterday. That's not a bad return to the game.
okay, I shouldn't have mentioned
yeah,
this.
the bad
Well,
take.
it's not. It's
This is a
just
bad
it's
take.
not correct. That's all. I mean,
You
Bad
can't
take.
call an opinion correct, by the way. But
Bad take.
it's in your mind a bad take.
because
bad
like
take.
I like to watch.
I think most people would say
I
it's bad
like.
take.
I can't watch golf unless it's Scheffler or somebody I've heard of.
I'm
Charlie's
not
in
even watching
the.
golf anymore because
You're
of the-
boycotting it right now.
I am.
But
Well,
if
actually, I
Tiger
did watch the
but,
race,
but
man.
Tiger, I'll still watch. There aren't
You'll
too
watch
many-
a guy limp around a
Yes,
golf course
why
and
not?
hit bad shots?
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you rather
Yes.
watch him or Patrick Cantlay, who's the
Honestly.
leader?
Patrick Cantlay.
You really would.
You would not.
You would follow Patrick Cantlay for 18 holes and watch it
18 holes now.
okay,
No.
9. You watch him on the first front 9.
I will watch TV
so
in the regular broadcast.
So your answer is no. You wouldn't follow. And
Skraby, my question to you is this. If Patrick Cantlay walked into the studio right now,
Yes, I would notice. who he
you
is.
would not.
Yes, I
I
know what
have
he
no
looks
idea
like.
You'd
what he
go,
looks
hey,
like.
Patrick.
He won a FedEx Cup.
I don't
would-
care what he won. Nobody knows that.
is that
I
him?
would- Yes, that's him.
Is that him?
He has a really okay. So the reason
He's
I know
from
this,
Long Beach, Tony. He might
Is he
have gone
from
to your
the
house.
LB?
Might have gone
you
to your
remember?
high school.
You remember there was a girl who? Well, I can't say her name on the radio, but her cousin is Patrick Cantlay. She used to work here.
Why
And
can't
so-
you say her name on the radio?
Because I don't want to
Say her
out
first name.
Shannon, remember Shannon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, her cousin is Patrick Cantlay. She was like one time, I guess I have a famous cousin who's like a pro golfer or something. And I was like, oh yeah, what's his name?
Or something.
She's like, Patrick Cantlay. And I'm like, oh
Never
yeah,
mind.
he's actually a real golfer.
Never mind, Tony went to Servite High School
Servite.
in Anaheim.
That's in
Isn't that
Anaheim.
in Anaheim? Yeah.
Oh,
But he's
man.
a Long Beach native. So there you go.
Boom.
Went to UCLA.
Yes,
So
he
he's
did.
Southern
Wow, wow.
California guy.
Yep.
Never could not recognize him, like I said, if he walked
How
in
long has
right
he been
now.
on the tour?
He's got
7 or 8 years.
So he's probably played. Was at school with Bauer and
Oh, Garrett Cole.
and Cole.
We'll have to look that up, but maybe.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
All right, let's get the break.
Yeah, please.
Does it
We
mean-
got Joe Musgrove on the other side for our interview of the week.
Boom.
That's
Hi,
good
Little
news.
Bob here, returning President's Day.
I'm currently scouting some of my possible celebrity softball
Yeah,
game
how about
coming
that?
up.
You got some of your softball players are at the Celebrity All-Star game in the NBA.
Yeah, Kelsey Plum is not playing in the celebrity basketball.
Well, you don't
game.
want her playing in this game. She could get hurt.
That's what I was
ahead of
getting
your
to. I
softball
kind of
game.
called ahead and said, "Hey, take it easy. I don't want. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you 100% by the time we get ready."
Now,
to...
the list of softball players that that are going to be in the Padre Fan Fest softball game, which is a good list I mean, I'm telling you, if you're going to the Fan Fest, you want to go to the softball game. But we don't know that all these players are on your team.
No, we don't. But doesn't hurt for me to start my scouting now. It's
okay.
Talked to coach yesterday.
Now, who was your other coach? Do you remember?
I am coaching against Mr. Hoffman.
Trevor.
Yes.
I think you guys ought to have a little draft. I think that'd be kind of fun.
I think that'd be fair.
Yeah.
Do you at any point in time are you going to try and distract Mr. Hoffman with your hit against him? Like you're going to bring it up or put a picture?
No. I have far too much respect for that man.
We
be washing his face in my little hit against him.
Yeah. you and I had a chance. Maybe here was my suggestion. Since Tony won't take us on his team, maybe you could call Trevor and we could take him. He could get us on his team.
But
now you're bad mouthing him by reminding him of Tony's hit.
Well, here's the thing.
Thanks a lot.
If Trevor
Scrape.
decides to let you in, then I'm gonna change my mind. I can't have you guys on the field and that be on my team. So
I see.
You know how that works there. You got to.
I don't see us having any chance.
I just don't think I can't get you guys on the team. But if you guys find your way on the list, I'm taking you guys.
If you said to them, I would like for Skraby and Tony or Skraby and Chris to be a part of this game, I think they would say yes.
I think we're begging far too much, honestly.
I
And
think-
we're putting Tony in a really awkward spot.
I think we need to get to Joe Musgrove, is what I think.
Yes, we do.
There's some traffic, and there's Joe coming up after.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Speed's getting back to normal along westbound 78 to clear that crash out of the two left lanes near El Camino Real. We still have this accident on the eastbound 78 before Barham. Vehicle knocked down a light pole over to the right shoulder. We still have this crash blocking the right lane on southbound 15 before the 805. Now southbound 805 at the King Freeway. Got a collision. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. And an accident involving a motorcycle partially blocking the westbound King Freeway connector to the 15. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Joining us is San Diego's favorite, I think. Joe Musgrove joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. Joe, first, man, how are you? How's the beginning of spring training? It all starts again.
Been good, man. To be honest, the biggest bummer for me leaving San Diego is not having the San Diego radio anymore, man. I became a big fan of your show and the morning broadcast, so I'm missing 97.3 actually.
Come on now, you can still go online, watch us on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
right?
expect.
I got to put a little more work in.
Yeah, you got to put a little work in.
Joe, I mean, this was a little bit different off season for you, man. You had to get the body in order before, I'm assuming, starting your progression to get to this point. How are you feeling? And what was different about this off season compared to past off seasons?
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, first off, I had a little more time, starting the off season a little bit sooner. One, because, obviously not making the playoffs, you wrap up at the start of October. But, the last month and a half of the season for me was spent on the IL. And, we were back and forth between trying to build back up or just shutting down and starting the off season. Our place in the rankings was kind of dictating a lot of that. And going 16-2 down the stretch kind of put a little pressure on us to speed things up a little bit. Should we make it in, I wanted to have a chance to throw. So a little bit of that, but, ultimately I got to start some of the off season, recovery work and stuff down that last, month of the season or so last year. So going into the start of the official off season, I was actually in a pretty decent spot. But yeah, like you said, a lot more body work and maintenance stuff to kind of get me back to a level playing field before I go into the off season and start to build back up. So I can honestly say that, this past week has been the best that I felt all off season. And I feel like I'm starting to peak at the right times here.
Do you still have to prove anything to yourself and to or this, the team, the coaches that, what's going to let you know that you are going to be ready to go 100% on opening day?
Yeah, I got my check boxes that I like to hit. along the way in the course of spring training, but you really try to just set your sights on one at a time. And for me, it's a daily thing. Just try to get your body feeling good by the end of each day, and leaving there feeling like to be ready to come in the next day. So, like I said, I have these few things that I like to hit along the way, but I'm really trying to take it day at a time and just follow what the trainers and our PT staff have given me.
Joe Musgrove joins us, one of the lead dogs in this rotation at the Padres. We'll go into the 2024 season with it. And Joe, I'm interested to hear your take on this. I know when pitchers and catchers reported, you had your kind of scrum with the media, and you spoke about establishing an identity. As a starting pitcher on this ball club, what is your part in creating that identity? And, how long does it take for a team to kind of figure out what their identity is going to be?
I think ultimately you find it through playing and through winning. But, setting the tone early in camp with the expectations of how we're going to carry ourselves as a staff. I mean, me and Ruben have this talk a lot, but we're firm believers that starting rotation sets the tone for everything. We got the ball, we control the pace of the game. We're in control out there. So, we want to be known as a relentless staff, somebody that's not going to give in regardless of the scenario, regardless of the score. If you got the ball and you're on that mound, you're giving it everything you have until they take it from you. So some of those things are talked about a little bit as far as what we expect and the effort level that's going into things. But a lot of the culture and stuff that everyone talks about, that stuff is found through winning and through experiences you have throughout the course of the season. But it's never too early to start implementing some of those things and just talking out loud about some of the approaches that you want to take towards your game and how you want your team to look on the field.
Joe, we obviously follow everything that happens during the off season. The fans follow it closely, but they're not as probably as big of fans as the actual players that are on the team. I mean, you're certainly reading and following everything that's happening, and Juan Soto's traded and bunch of guys are coming in, and free agency this year is a little different than last year. What's your overall reaction to what the Padres have done so far this offseason, and how do you think it's all going to benefit this year's club?
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy losing a generational talent type player in Soto, but you look at the pieces we get in return for him and what it does for our team moving forward. I think it puts us in a better spot, as a group and as a team. With the arms we got in return, pitching was going to be the biggest concern going into the off season for us. So we answered a lot of those questions with some of the arms we got back. We got a little bit of experience, and then some really good, talented young arms that we expect to be big pieces for us. So, like I said, it's not easy to lose guys like Soto and a guy as consistent as Grish is in the outfield. But when you look at what it does for our team and our rotation, I think it puts us in a real good spot. We got some really good depth in our bullpen now. Still a few pieces that I think we're short on, but I know AJ and you guys know him well. He's always got something up his sleeve, and I know he's not walking into this thing knowing that there's gaps in the in the roster that need to be filled without a plan. So I think we just kind of trust in him.
Joe, I want to ask you a little bit about the managerial change. Mike Schilt takes over, and let me say this before I ask this question. By no means am I trying to say that Bo Mel didn't do these things, but just in my time getting to spend with Mike Schilt, he seems very detail oriented. He seems very driven by the team aspect in terms of how you guys feel about one another and kind of coming together. Are you sensing that already in just a little bit of spring training you've had already?
Absolutely. And he empowers the players too. I mean, he's got a way of talking to you that, inspires you and motivates you to do a little more on your end as a player. So, I got to spend the last 2 years with him, side by side in the dugout, just talking baseball and, gaining some knowledge from him. I mean, he's been around the game since he was 9-10 years old, growing up in, AA clubhouse, coaching at every single level along the way. I mean, the guy's got as much experience as you could ask for in a manager. But yeah, he does a really good job communicating with the guys and making it very clear what the expectations are. And then, putting the power in the hands of the players and, forcing us to take a little bit of accountability and a little bit of ownership of what we're doing and try to police things and run things ourselves from within.
As you do a little look back at the 2023 season, as you're sitting there getting ready for this year, and you compare what ended up happening last year to what happened the year before, is it as simple as saying that you guys just couldn't get over the hump in terms of getting hits with runners in scoring position and winning close games? I mean, the record was 9-23 in one-run games. It was the complete opposite of that the year before. Is it as simple as that to say last year didn't work out because of those things, or was there more at work here?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of Schulte's big things that he says all the time, and he said it countless times since he's, taken the helm here. It's that, this game is, the best players in this game are elite adjusters. And, we just really weren't that last year. We had plans of how we wanted to go about it. We knew, what the expectation was of ourselves as a lineup, how we were going to score runs, how we were going to produce. And we weren't getting those, we weren't having that success with driving the ball in and, the doubles and homers and our slug not being very high, the runners in scoring position average, those things weren't falling into place for us early in the year. And we did not do a good job of adjusting the game plan and doing what we had to do to win. I feel like we married ourselves to that expectation of what our lineup was built to do. And, we didn't adjust very well. So you'd like to say it's as easy as that, but I feel like that's the main reason is we did not adjust on the fly, and we weren't in that category of elite adjusters like, you see at this level.
You said that word twice, and I got goosebumps. Elite adjusters. I mean, that is as simple as I think you can put it. You mentioned some of the arms that you guys got back in the deal for Juan Soto. Michael King, we're talking Brito, we're talking Vasquez, we're talking the young kid Thorpe. Integrating those arms, because, as of right now, at least a few of those guys are going to be pieces that, could possibly be in this rotation. How do you bring those guys in? I think this is your strong suit, and you're not the only one. You, Darvish, does it in his own way as well. But talk about bringing in those young guys, installing that confidence, installing that kind of the idea of what you guys want to accomplish as a unit.
Yeah. I think our little off-season camp that we do every year in January is a big part of that, bringing these new guys in and some of these young guys and giving them a week prior to spring training to meet the staff, to meet some of the other players, to, see what the expectation is, how we do things here, meet some of the behind-the-scenes guys with the analytics, and just kind of kickstart things and give these guys a week to kind of adjust to some of the people and, get their feet underneath them before they get here. But we talked about it a lot this offseason, myself, Manny, Toddy, Darvish, all these guys that are, under contract and going to be here for a while that, we have a lot of young guys now, and we're going to need these guys to produce. And I think for them to be the best player that they can be, they have to be comfortable. They got to be able to play with that swagger and with a little bit of attitude and personality. And I think a lot of that comes from the veterans on the team creating that atmosphere. They got to understand that we're here to win games. We're not here to make them feel like rookies. We're not here to belittle them or make them feel like they're anything less than we are. We're here to win. So having said that, there is a pecking order and there are some unwritten rules that you try to follow. And it's really just respect, respect the guys around you, respect the guys that have more time than you in the game, but be yourself, play the game the way that you play it, play with some passion, with some fire. And, if your mind's in the right place with everything you do, everyone in that clubhouse is going to have your back. So just bringing them in and trying to get them to understand that, hey, we're not here to embarrass you guys or belittle you or make you feel like a rookie. We want you to be impact players on this team, and we need you to be at your best and play with some freedom out there.
How many people have come up to you and guys on this team and said, man, you guys are really up against it? I mean, look what the Dodgers did this offseason, and I mean, they're going to be impossible to beat and all of this stuff. And in your heart that it doesn't come down to that. It comes down to execution and what did he say?
Elite adjusting.
Thank you. Being an elite adjuster. Right. Yes, I'm going to put that in my bank of
bookmark that one.
Bookmark that one. But those are the things that are going to decide this season. And if you can perform, this Padre team performs the way it can, I don't see why you can't keep up with the Dodgers. I know you guys aren't going into the season thinking anything but that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on that side. We were that team last year where everyone looked at our team on paper and saw who we were and what was expected of us, and that's not always the best thing for you. Sometimes to have a little chip on your shoulder and to be counted out a little bit adds a little fuel to the fire. So, like you said, this team is capable of beating any team in the big leagues, when we play the way that we expect to play. So it's about finding out the way to pull that out of us every night, finding ways to create that energy and to kickstart things in the beginning of the year better than we did last year. And I think a lot of that starts in spring training with, some of these meetings and talking about, what we expect of ourselves and how we're going to run things on a daily basis to ultimately get to the end goal. But all that stuff starts now. So, just building that foundation in spring is super important.
Joe, I got one that's not as serious as all these other questions has been. Typically for position players, about 3.5 weeks in, you're like, all right, I'm ready for this to go. Now, pitchers is different, especially because you're building up. But is there any part of you that is, by the time you get to spring, is like, let's just get to the real stuff, please?
Oh yeah, very soon actually, sooner than later in spring. For starters, it's usually once you're into that 4 or 5 inning range where you start feeling like, okay, I'm built up now, I'm ready to go. Early in camp, you're still trying to get your feet under you. A lot of guys haven't even been in spikes for, as long as you spend in them in spring training, running around doing PFPs and, conditioning in spikes. There's a lot of things and just getting your body prepped and stuff. But you get through that first week or two, you start to feel really consistent in your routine, your body's recovering well, and you start getting the itch for some real games. But it's nice for us this year. We come into spring a week early, get things started when most people aren't working, and get to get out of here a few weeks early, which is nice as well. So we got to really maximize, the time that we got here and get as much out of it as we can, because Korea is going to come, faster than we know it.
Is there any chance you think you could pitch in Korea? I know you said you're taking it one checkbox at a time. Could we see you in one of those first 2 games?
Yeah, so we've talked about that already with Schulte and Ruben about how we want to go about it. No decisions have been made yet, but that's definitely, those are 2 games that count towards the record book. So we expect to be around that 5 inning mark by then. So me and Darvish would both be ready to go should the ball be handed to us in that situation.
Say less. I think that's the answer that everybody wanted to hear anyway. Joe, we appreciate you coming off, man, on a day off. Schulte gave you guys Joe Musgrove. Love catching up with my man. He's one of the best, man.
And he's pitching in Korea, looks like. He always slips us a little news.
He gave us a little tidbit there.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. The weekend. Hopefully, I get to see you guys again on Monday. My daughter in Mount Carmel.
We're not going to see you on Monday, no matter what.
No, it's Tuesday. Hopefully, you'll see me on Tuesday.
We're back.
The Mount Carmel Sun Devils get a win. We got to get out of here. You guys enjoy your weekend. Skraby Chronicles up next.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again. Almost overnight, she's a different dog.
Perfect poops. When people switch their dog's food